Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the race watch-along for the 2025 Italian Grand Prix from Monza. What could be, if we believe Crofty, potentially the fastest race of all time. So it may have even finished before we even get through this intro. It's going to be that quick today. I did just have a quick look, by the way, an hour and 14 minutes for last year's race. So it's going to be a quick one, whatever happens, unless we get a shock rain shower or a massive amount of safety cars or red flags, but we'll see what happens. Let's not wish it away. I'm looking forward to this one. We've got a good grid. We'll run through that shortly as well. We'll also have a look at strategy. We'll answer some questions, do some predictions. Then, of course, it'll be time to go racing in Monza. Very much looking forward to this one. Let's do some shout outs in chat then to get your hellos in there ready. Let me know where you're watching from as well. That'll be interesting. But as Martin Brundle has been hijacked today, by the way, by Nico Rosberg, they're working together on the grid, which could be interesting if you're watching, or it might be really boring. I don't know. You let me know how it's going. Hey to Dave the Fish, says it's race day. Fud says it's also like the stream day. Absolutely, Fud. Very, very good. Hey to Biker John, to Pascal as well, who says good morning, or good afternoon, sorry, Sean and chat. Greetings from Luxembourg. Watching the race with my dad. Come on, Sauber. Hello, Pascal's dad. Hope you're having a good day. Michael, hey, Michael says good morning, chat and Sean. Biker John says Max, by the way. Pre-race incident after race investigation. We'll get to that shortly. CPB, Ferrari, double DNF incoming. CPB, do you know what? I'm ending the stream there. CPB's ruined everything now. That's it. I'm done. Alfie, hey Alfie, hope you well, mate. Hey to Neelish as well, and to Murray, who says he wants to do what on a Sauber. Between Moray and CPB, they've ruined my day now. That's it. I resign. Hope you're all having a good one anyway and ready for this one. I'm very much excited for this. I think that Monza can be hit and miss with races, but it's still going to be great to watch Formula One cars around here. Let's have a run through the grid, get all the usual stuff. I'm just waiting to see if Martin collars anybody that I recognise instantly that might be interesting, but we'll see. Max Verstappen starts on pole. Is that Eddie Irvine by any chance? If that's Eddie Irvine, the time has just moved too quickly. I can't do it. Hey, Brendan. Brendan Plays, hope you're well. Says, what are your thoughts on the F1 movie? I've not watched it yet, mate. I am going to watch it. It's available now to own, isn't it? To buy. So I might pick it up. It is Eddie Irvine. And give it a watch at some point, but I haven't had a chance yet. But it's on my list. I watched, very quickly, watched 28 Years Later yesterday. Not convinced it was worth the near 3-decade wait, but also ended on a cliffhanger, which always annoys me anyway. But anyway, Max Verstappen on pole position for the Italian Grand Prix with that lap yesterday. What a lap that was as well. Just pipping Lando Norris, who's P2. Oscar Piastri, P3. Charles Leclerc, P4. And George Russell, P5. Kimi Antonelli on home soil, is P6. 7th for Bortoletto, 8th for Alonso, and 9th for Tsunoda. You may notice some of those are in a different order. In all the excitement yesterday, I completely forgot that Lewis Hamilton took a 5-place grid drop, of course, for that incident in Zandvoort pre-race. So he is P10. So apologies for missing that yesterday, completely forgetting, but it all got a bit exciting at the end. So there we go. P11 for Ollie Bearman. It's 12th for Nico Hulkenberg and 13th for Carlos Sainz, 14th for Alex Albon, 15th for Esteban Ocon, 16th for Lance Stroll. Colapinto will start 17th and Liam Lawson 18th. I said yesterday I wouldn't be surprised if a number of drivers took penalties and engine penalties and whatnot going into this one. Hadjar and Gasly they will start from the pit lane today. Pierre Gasly, the team did not cover car 10, which is Gasly, of course, 2 hours after the checkered flag of the qualifying session, and they changed his ICE, turbocharger, MGU, H&K and exhaust, so everything's been changed pretty much on the Alpine, and Hadjar's done the same, except he's also changed his control, electronics and energy store, so a whole new everything for Hadjar, pretty much a whole new everything for Gasly. That's a breach of part firme. They will start from the pit lane. Not surprised, a little bit surprised that Lawson didn't, given that he's qualified 20th, but I suppose Racing Bulls wanting to hedge their bets just a little bit there. In terms of strategy, let's head over to the strategy screen, as I've decided to call it today. You'll be thrilled to know we're aiming for a one-stopper today. Pirelli are trying everything to make two-stoppers the viable option, and just nobody wants to do it. So most likely strategy is going to be medium to hard, pitting on lap 22 to 28. You can also run the opposite, which is a hard tyre to lap 28 to 34, and then run the mediums to the end. You could do medium or hard and then onto the soft, but you would have to run to lap 32 to 38 on either tyre and then run the soft to the end. But a one-stopper is the way we are looking. And tyres-wise, there you go. Pretty much everybody has a set of hard tyres spare. I assume those ones on the Aston Martins have just done a scrubbed heat cycle. Let's wait and see. But Max Verstappen has 2 sets of the hard tyres, so that's something to keep an eye on later. And most drivers inside the top 10 won't have a fresh set of softs, but I don't think we'll see them today. I think it'll be hard to medium or medium to hard is the way we're looking at today. So very exciting in terms of strategy, as I'm sure you can appreciate. Very much looking forward to a standard one-stopper. Hopefully we get plenty of action on track to offset the lack of action in the pit lane. Yes, I am one of those people who quite enjoys a bit of strategy. So there we go. Fernando Alonso is under investigation, by the way, as is Lance Stroll, for failing to follow the race director's instructions for a practice start infringement. But it's going to be investigated after the session or after the race, which I don't mind with 10 laps to go, but the race is still 19 minutes away from starting and the stewards haven't got the time to make a decision now. So they go into this with penalties hanging over them, or potential penalties hanging over them. I don't know what the precedent is more recently, but I seem to recall at Sochi a few years ago now, Lewis Hamilton getting a penalty for doing a practice start in the wrong area, didn't he? So I expect we're going to see something similar there, but I don't know what the precedent is now. I don't know what the rules are on that now, but the fact that both Aston Martins are on investigation says to me that's a miscommunication somewhere, and it's a mistake or misunderstanding in the team. So let's see what the FIA decide. But it just baffles me. It just baffles me. Neelish says the race said that they gave Lawson the only floor upgrade, or Hadjar knew that they were planning to take PU penalties, which made him flustered during quali, apparently. Could be a reason. Thank you, Neelish. Appreciate the info, mate. Jithu. Hey, Jithu. Hope you're well, mate. And Craig as well. Hello, Craig. Thank you to Lyle as well. Member for 12 months, as apparently this is Pirelli's 500th race, according to the signs. You must have been thrilled at Jacques' latest idea in Autosport of removing car mirrors. Yeah. Again, thank you, Lyle. But generally speaking, when Villeneuve goes off on one of those tangents, I tend to just ignore him, because he is... he's a one, isn't he? He's an interesting character. The idea of removing mirrors is hilarious. He said that, didn't he? And then in the race, I think there was a point made about how Lawson was looking in his mirrors to try and block Carlos' sight. So actually, maybe he's got a point, but no, it's just Jacques Villeneuve being Jacques Villeneuve. It was interesting. William says Max is the greatest driver on pure ability to have ever lived. Mikhail says, how do you think Lewis will do? Starting P10, of course. Hey to both of you. I think if we have a dramaless race, is dramaless a word? It is now. A lack of drama in this race, and nobody's running into each other, not too many safety cars. I think he can get Antonelli in P6. I think he might, it depends on race pace, maybe Russell, but I think his target's got to be top 6 or top 5 from there. But he's already talking about a home crowd being behind him, and he's excited for that. So let's see if that can propel him. But I think a minimum of that for Lewis Hamilton today. Of course, being a Ferrari fan, a Ferrari 1-2 would be very, very nice, but I'd be very surprised without any chaos. Yes, Fabian, thank you. I do need to change that. I did it and then put it back and then change it back again because I couldn't remember which one we needed, but I will change it. Thank you very much for reminding me, mate. You are my reminder-er. There we go, all sorted before we get going. But yeah, not really much to add from yesterday. Not a lot's happened apart from those penalties in this investigation, so not much to say on that. So I'll take any questions you've got. We'll do predictions shortly. They're just doing the Italian national anthem, which is, I am just going to unmute this on my headphones actually, because it is the greatest national anthem on the planet. And I will say it again, the best combination of national anthems is the Monegasque and the Italian. It's like a party. It's the best thing ever. It just works. If you've not done it, get on YouTube, find the national anthems, have a listen. They just work so well together. So my foot will be tapping. So if you see a lot of this, it's because I can hear the national anthem. It's probably part of my Italian roots somewhere, and it's all kicking in. I don't know, but I think it'll be a safety car, says Tommy. Again, I said yesterday that they're fairly, I mean, relatively speaking, they're quite rare at Monza. We've had 9 full safety cars since 2000, which is when the first one, well, we had the first one, and 10 including virtual safety cars, or 10 affected races, sorry, including virtual safety cars. So they're not, when you look at the track, the potential for huge accidents, some of the gravel runoff areas, it's quite surprising we don't get more. But my experience of F1 is just because a track is rare for safety cars or has lots of safety cars doesn't mean that'll follow today. Things change, don't they, all the time? So, yeah, Kimi out there singing out his national anthem. In fact, I think Charles Leclerc's singing as well. Very good. There you go. See? They love it. Here it's normally a red flag because of barrier damage. Good shout that from Moray. Charles Leclerc a couple of years ago, didn't he, in the barrier at Parabolica? Was quite a big shunt there. So you'll also be very excited to hear the risk of rain for this race is 0%. No rain forecast, which we don't need rain at Monza, do we? As we have yet. Can someone clarify something for me? Okay. Sorry, it's a bit of a tangent, but why not? It's me. You know we banned these fly pasts. When did that get changed? Because we had the red arrows at Silverstone. We've got the... I apologise, any Italians watching. I'm not sure what your Air Force is called or what your display teams are called, but you've then got the same in Italy. We also had all the flybys in Saudi Arabia and Bahrain with their big, super huge jets and all of that. So was that something that they bought in and then immediately were told, shove it, and they just got rid of it and bought them back? I don't know, but I don't care. I'm quite happy to... to enjoy a good flyover, but yeah, it's quite funny. Did anyone make a rear wing trim ranking for Monza? Nilesh, actually, Matt, or Summers F1, Matt Summerfield, actually had a look after qualifying, and Max Verstappen did trim his rear wing between practice and qualifying. They've trimmed out those dips, if you like, in the rear wing on the Red Bull. So it's very, very slippery in a straight line, that Red Bull, which is interesting. What is your favourite Monza race ever, says William? Ooh, William. As a Ferrari fan, I quite enjoyed 1999, even though Frenson won in the Jordan, I believe. Mika Häkkinen's mistake there was quite a huge moment. I did quite enjoy that one. Any Michael Schumacher win at Monza, I think he's won 3 times, hasn't he? So... I quite enjoyed them. I did enjoy 2020. There was quite a lot of emotion in 2020 with Gasly's win, Sainz on the podium, Lance Stroll on there as well. So I think back to a really good Italian Grand Prix that I can remember that really stands out. There's sort of odd bits from different years that I really enjoyed. So it's difficult to pick one specific race, but 99 sticks in my mind because of the Frenson win and the Häkkinen mistake at turn 1 and the tears in the bushes and all of that. So maybe that. No offence to Mika Häkkinen, I've grown up since then. I was celebrating that moment quite a bit at the time, even though I was a Schumacher fan and not a Irvine fan. But yeah, Monza 95, Sauber's first ever podium with Frenson, says Pascal. So Frenson has a good record then at Monza, didn't he? Yeah, no, there's quite a few, William, sort of moments, like I say, that I've enjoyed. But yeah, difficult to pick an outright race. The 2021 race was pretty good as well. But that's what happens when you eliminate championship contenders, or the fastest two, isn't it? You tend to get quite a lot of sort of Formula 1.5, as we used to call it, becomes the main show then. So 2008 was good, yeah. Vettel's first win, of course, that was, I think the thing with Vettel's first win is not so much the race itself, but his drive at that age and that lack of experience in that car in those conditions was exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. When you think back, yeah, the car might have been set up for that race in those conditions, but still absolutely incredible. Sean, could you give a countdown when the cars leave for the formation lap? You're ahead of me by several seconds and I need to pause you to sync up. I will try my best for you, mate. I'll try. Yeah. If the worst case scenario, Michael, is I'll count down the lights, but I'll try and do it for the formation. I'll just give you a bit of time to sort that one out as well. Moray asked something yesterday, and I can't remember what it was. So if we don't get to it before the race, we'll do it afterwards. But yeah, Is it Mr. Darko says, I hope Antonelli can place top 8. Yeah, I think Antonelli could have a good race. He needs to keep, I said it yesterday, he needs to keep it clean, doesn't he, today? He needs to keep it clean. It could just do with an undramatic race. I'm making up words. Or a race with no drama. Dramaless was what I said earlier, so there you go. Kimi Antonelli, he could do with a good race, what I'm saying. So I hope he does all right. I'd like to see him do well on home soil. It would be nice to see an Italian on the podium. But I think, again, unless we get a lot of chaos or something happens at the very front, I can't see anyone but those two McLarens, Verstappen, or maybe Leclerc in that top 3 somewhere. So, yeah. I just get a lot. I'm trying to think about 3 things at once here. So, I'm kind of setting things up. I will say that I've been testing again the live timing. Hopefully it worked fine yesterday, so hopefully it works fine today. If it doesn't, I can only apologize. 2 seconds, I'm gonna have to go choke for a second. I'll be back in just a mo. I'm alive, it's okay, don't worry. Yeah, had a moment there. I'm okay. This is one of the first races in a while with the minimum amount of midfield starting in the top 10. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in the top 10 now, so that's pretty special, isn't it? Morris says Stefano's comments, Stefano's comments, and how it will never lead to cheaper tickets. Yes, I did pull up the quote. We've got a few minutes. I'll read the quotes and then I'll tell you what I think, because I did put this. I knew it was something to do with Domenicali, so I just grabbed all his quotes. So I'll try not to read every single word of them. But if you didn't catch what he said coming into this weekend, he said, there is the issue of race length. We believe it's a bit too long for younger viewers. We're seeing on many of our channels that highlight reels are hugely popular. Perhaps for those of us who grew up with the full format, it's fine, but a large portion of the audience only wants to see the key moments. We need to understand whether to increase them, how to increase them, and whether we use different formats. Talk about sprints. We have several discussions to have with the teams to decide the direction. The direction is clear. I can guarantee that in a few years there will be a demand to have all weekends with the same formats. I'm not saying we'll get to MotoGP, which has a sprint at every round. That's too big a step. I see it more as a maturation, that's a word, process that respects a more traditionalist approach. I have to say that aside from some older diehard fans, everyone wants sprint weekends. Promoters push for this format, and now the drivers are interested as well. So first point on this, I know there are a lot of you in chat who are much younger than me who will fall into this younger fan bracket. And I know for a fact that a lot of you really don't like sprints. So this idea that it's only people like me, older diehard fans who don't want sprints, is absolute, excuse the language, bullshit. And that is just selective. It's the sort of thing YouGov does. You know, they'll put a poll out on one of their websites, and they'll word it in just the perfect specific way to get the answer they want. And that's basically what he's saying there. This idea that it's only older diehard fans that find sprints a bit meh is bollocks. It's as simple as that. I'm sorry. It really, really is. So on the specific lines, Domenicali says that there's the issue of race length. We believe it's a bit too long for younger viewers. But here's the thing, race length is not the issue, and the idea of cutting races short is just bizarre, to put it mildly. The problem is the product. If the racing was more exciting or interesting, people would be more likely to engage with it for a full 90 minutes, which is, give or take, what it takes for a race to be completed in Formula One. Okay? To put it another way, and to steal Fernando Alonso's point, that length of a football match minus added time... Sorry, I'll say that again. To put it another way, and to steal Fernando Alonso's point, that is the length of a football match minus added time, and nobody is screaming for those to be slashed, even after a boring 0-0 draw. The focus should 100% be on making these cars significantly smaller, lighter, and by extension more nimble, as well as easier to follow to encourage close racing and indeed overtaking. If young people have the capacity to sit and watch someone play Minecraft for 6 hours at a time, or Minecraft for 6 hours at a time, then they have the capacity to watch a 90-ish minute F1 race if it is worth watching. I am nearly 40, so perhaps I'm wrong. But that sweeping assumption about younger fans seems incredibly insulting to young fans to me. Also, pretending a shorter race will make things more entertaining is laughable. May I present the procession that is the sprint format? Funnily enough, I would argue that making the races longer is actually going to lead to more excitement because you get more pit stops, more variation with strategy, the chance of more errors, maybe even more mechanical problems, although these cars are pretty insanely reliable, so perhaps not. And it offers up more opportunities for drivers to make moves. That said, the current length of a race is absolutely 100% fine as it is. The other thing he said, we're seeing on many of our channels that highlight reels are hugely popular. Perhaps for those of us who grow up with a full format, it's fine, but a large portion of the audience only wants to see the key moments. The refusal, if you like, to address the reason for that is just a typical management answer and comes across as extremely disingenuous. The reason the sport gets so much interest in highlights now is partly because of everything I've just said about the racing, but also because Bernie Ecclestone locked the sport behind a paywall in a number of countries before Liberty Media came in and doubled down on it. Not everyone can justify spending X amount every month to watch Formula One, and many simply can't afford to. So watching the free highlights on YouTube, or if you're in the UK, on Channel 4, is a completely viable option. So of course highlights are popular, but it doesn't take a genius to work out why. Why watch a dual race, Monaco for example, when you can watch all the action in a 5-minute YouTube video? Which takes me back to that first point. Improve the racing and the spectacle, and at the very least, if you can't make it free to air again, make the cheaper F1 TV Pro paywalled content available to everyone, and the viewership will likely follow. I hate this whole younger people have no attention span. Like I say, I'm nearly 40, so it doesn't really apply to me. I'm considered one of the older hardcore fans, or whatever he calls us. But I think the idea that kids or younger people don't have an attention span is BS. My nephew is... Oh, my sister will kill me if she's watching. I can't remember his age. He's about 8, something like that. And he can sit and watch somebody stream for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a time easily and not even blink. So it's about the products as far as I'm concerned. And I will say this as well before we get into the race stuff, because I wasn't expecting this to turn into a rant, but here we are. The other point as well, F1 needs to be very careful. It's all right sitting there talking about older diehard fans, but when younger fans realised they were sold a lie in 2021, because F1 is not always like that, and that the contrived, over-the-top drama in DTS is exactly that, BS, they'll soon realise the sport isn't worth following, and then who's watching? So maybe let's try and find a way to keep all fans happy, rather than just focusing on people who aren't really interested in the sport, because the people that are switching off are people who just don't care or aren't interested in F1 or find it a bit dull, in which case they will watch the highlights. Of course they will. So anyway, that was it. Thanks, Moray. You sent me on a rant. Simple as that. It just annoys me. It just winds me up so much that's the route we go down. Like, oh, kids today, they're too stupid to enjoy Formula One. Shut up. It's not that. The sport's just not that entertaining. I do a watch-along for Monaco. I'd rather watch the highlights of Monaco most seasons, to be honest. It's a bit dull. So, of course, people aren't going to watch it. But anyway, that's my moan. Leave me alone. I've even missed the grid countdown. There you go. Top 2 on the grid, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris heading into turn 1 is going to be very, very interesting. So to get to Moray's point as well, shorten the races by all means, but then bring your ticket prices down as well. But oh no, you won't do that, will you? The sprint format, the changing the format across race weekends, all this talk of younger fans, it's nothing to do with younger fans. It's nothing to do with older fans. It's about how much they can charge for TV subscriptions and ticket prices. It all comes down to money. As simple as that. If there are any younger fans in there, by the way, maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree, but I find that quite insulting to you to claim that you haven't got the attention span to watch a 90-minute... I know some races are up to 2 hours because of safety car. Singapore's quite a long one, but most of them fall between, like I say, Monza last year was 1 hour and 14 minutes. A couple of races this year have been 1 hour and 45. They sort of fall in and around, probably on average around 90 minutes, which is a football match. People watch football all the time and don't go, let's cut this down to half an hour because it's boring. Because Man United can't score a goal and it's a dull 0-0. Let's cut it down to 30 minutes. Yeah, anyway. If you're one of those who came yesterday and heard me use the line, I don't tend to get ranty anymore because it's just I've grown up and I can't be bothered with it anymore. I apologise for clearly lying. It's been bugging me since I read it earlier in the weekend, or earlier in the week, because it's just a load of bollocks. It really is. It's all PR spin and sponsor talk, and the races don't need to change. And if he wants to have shorter races, then let's just have the sprint format and be done with it all by Saturday afternoon. How's that for you? But sprints are not that entertaining. I'd also argue there's an oversaturation in F1 which I do agree with him on, actually, on the practice sessions. I don't know why they're broadcast. I don't know why they're ever broadcast, but there is a saturation there. So 24 races, isn't it? You're getting on for half of the weekends in a year. You have to give up for F1 with 3 practice sessions and everything else going on. So there you go. We are down to 1 light, by the way. We are 5 seconds away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Formation lap is go. There you go. Just for you that wanted to sync up. I'll count down the lights as well later, but the formation lap is go. But yeah. I mean, Joachim says, if I were a sponsor, race start long enough. Like I say, you extend the races by another 20 minutes, you can get even more sponsor coverage, like you say, but also it will force people into 2 stoppers. I just think if you address the issue of the cars and the product, and if the races are engaging enough and entertaining enough, people will watch them for 90 minutes, surely, and more. There are plenty of films I've got through where I've got sort of halfway through and gone, God, and turned it off. That doesn't mean that every film needs to be shorter than an hour, because Sean can't stand one film that he watched. Whatever. Anyway, we've got a race to enjoy. Let's get on to the Watchalogs. I apologise for that. I knew it was going to set me off, which is why I didn't do it yesterday, and I wish I'd done it after the race now. We have no on-track footage for obvious copyright reasons, but we do have the live time provided by the awesome folks over at Multiview for F1, as well as the driver tracker. Thank you to them for allowing us to use those on stream. It is a free app, by the way, if you want to check it out. Lots of data on there, timing, driver radio. I might start putting those transcripts on screen at some point. You've got the driver tracker. Everything you need to know is in there. So do check them out. Free is the app, or the app is free. Free is the app. But you could also, you do need an F1 TV access subscription as a minimum, which is £2.29 in the UK, which isn't too bad at all. We will revisit that rant after the stream, after the race. We've got a Grand Prix to enjoy, though, as Max Verstappen, our pole sitter, cruises towards Parabolica, ready to take his place on the grid for the start of this race. Yes, Tommy Guy, I'm there. Tommy's like, race time, Sean. Calm, mate. Let's go racing. We're ready. I'll come back to it later. Why not? Hi, our friends have posted on X a Jordan flag at Monza. 26 years since he won at Monza. Rip Eddie, says Nick the Greek. Yeah. Is it Rick? 26 years since... Bloody hell. Some breaking news. Sean continues to be baffled by the concept of time passing. 26 years. Incredible. Right. Nico Hulkenberg has been told to box to retire the car. We'll wait and see if he does that. I assume that is obviously a mechanical issue, but Nico Hulkenberg is retiring his Sauber. So a miserable start to the race. In fact, it's not even a start to the race for Hulkenberg. That's going to go down as a DNF or a DNS. That is such a shame for Nico Hulkenberg. So it is game over for the Hulk. In he comes to retire. And then, of course, we'll have Lawson. Hadjar and... Gasly in the pits because they've taken penalties for new power unit components. So we are only going to have is that 17 cars on the grid? The first Ferrari engine curse is coming, says CPB. Please do drop a like, by the way, and subscribe if you're new. Lots to come this season. Would love to get us 100 likes as soon as possible so I can stop talking about it, but we are ready to go. I am going to do a BTEC Crofty commentary as best I can. If it annoys you, go watch something else, but here we go. Blunt as always, Sean. There's the green flag. It's a bit of a break. We're waiting for the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. It's lights out and off we pop in Monza. It's a good start for Max Verstappen, who comes across to cover Lando Norris, who also got a good start. They are side by side on the run to turn 1. Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris on the grass there on the run to turn 1 as Max Verstappen tries to squeeze in there. Still side by side. It's turn 1. Verstappen takes to the runoff, and Oscar Piastri at risk here of being run past by Charles Leclerc. He has indeed. We saw a Sauber, Gabriel Bortoleto, and one other scampering across the grass. Max Verstappen super aggressive in defence there, as you would expect. Now we've got got Norris having another go at Verstappen into turn, the second chicane. Piastri down to P4. We've lost a Mercedes, dropped down to 10th, and that's Antonelli. Lewis Hamilton up to 8th place, by the way. A heck of a start for Hamilton, but a bad start for Aston. And there goes Oscar Piastri around the outside of Lesmo 1 on Charles Leclerc. What a move that was by Oscar Piastri. Round the outside. Norris calling Verstappen an idiot, asking what he's doing, put me on the grass, and then he's just cut the corner. So he's annoyed. That's we know where this is going, don't we? But yeah, that is 100% ballsiest move of the day so far from Oscar Piastri. Who goes around the outside of Lesmo 1 apart from Sean in the video game and ends up in the wall? So Oscar Piastri, I thought he'd be really conservative there, given that he's got a 34-point lead to defend. Max Verstappen being told to give back the position. Now, Max needs to do this in a way that doesn't compromise. He's going defensive on Norris. He's sending him to the outside. He'll let him go, but he doesn't want to lose out now to Oscar Piastri. Now, what's Verstappen going to do? Comes back to the outside, and there goes Charles Leclerc. And there goes Oscar Piastri having a look at Max Verstappen. That's going to compromise his exit, and that's going to allow Charles Leclerc back through. What a start to this Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri pretty much at the centre of all of it, it seems. So Norris will now disappear into distance because he's in the McLaren. Here goes Piastri trying to get around the outside of Leclerc at that chicane. So Piastri's optimistic attempt at Max Verstappen there has probably costing that position to Charles Leclerc. So lots of drama at the front, but Lando Norris already pulling away, nearly breaking that to a second. So no further investigation on that first corner incident because Verstappen has given the position back. If anything, Piastri here under threat from George Russell. So I'm not sure. Did he have to go in deep to that corner because Leclerc was trying around the outside, maybe, rather than a bold move on? Oh, twitch from Leclerc there. Leclerc is all over the place under braking. I had to avoid him, is what he said. I'm not sure I agree there. I think Leclerc was being fair with his defence there. But Piastri looks like he could be pretty quickly past Leclerc if he gets out of Parabolica okay. But that was a very exciting opening couple of laps, wasn't it? Piastri at the centre of it all. But Norris does leave. Verstappen is still in there, though, of course. He's got DRS on Norris. And actually, I just saw Verstappen's DRS flapping rather than opening. And yeah. So let's see if he has a go at Norris in turn one. He won't. But here goes Piastri on Charles Leclerc around the outside of turn one. That usually only goes one way, but Leclerc locks up. That'll allow Piastri to the outside. You can't do the outside around turn two there, Aussie. It's not going to happen, mate. And that's going to cost him time and put him into the clutches now of George Russell. Some hard defence by Leclerc. But that was quite that. And here goes Gabriel Bortoleto on George Russell on the run to that second chicane. Is he going to get through there? Tries the outside. Russell has the inside covered. No worries there. But Bortoleto looking racy, trying to get Russell for P5. How dare he? What's he doing there in that Sauber? Cheeky. Good stuff. Didn't get through, but why not? Yeah, coming out of two is the way if you cut back under, Tommy. I don't think you'll get around the outside of two because the driver on the inside can just run you straight out of road into the gravel. So you're better off slow in, fast out, if you like, if that makes sense. So sort of come into the corner at turn one, then the old, I don't want to say it, but switcheroo and come back under and go that way around the outside of Curva Grande. Although we've seen some moments there in F2 that maybe put people off that idea. But Verstappen is closer here, by the way, to Norris. I think we're watching this Piastri-Leclerc battle, but I think we need to be watching Max Verstappen and Lando Norris for the lead. We are now. Verstappen opens his DRS. Leclerc is going to try and break the toe a little bit if he can, but Piastri's going to go. We need to be watching this for the lead. And here goes Max Verstappen into turn one. He's round the outside. Norris on the inside. Norris locks up, and Verstappen takes the lead of the Grand Prix. And Charles Leclerc cuts the corner. He's going to be having to give that one back because I think he's got in there way too hot, and he knew it, to keep Piastri behind. I'll wait for a replay of that one, but he did cut the chicane. But Verstappen leads. There you go. I'll come to you in chat. It's all happening. It's all happening. This will be really exciting for 30 minutes, won't it? And then it'll be really boring. And then Stefano Domenicali will be right after my rant at the start of this stream. Anyway, Verstappen does lead 7 tenths clear of Lando Norris, 8 tenths now. So Tsunoda and Hamilton leaving the track and gaining advantage has been noted. Oscar's saying he needs to give the position back, referring to Charles Leclerc. I haven't seen a replay, obviously, neither of you guys, but from what I saw, Leclerc went in there really hot and locked up and kind of cut the corner, and I think I would probably agree, but it depends on what these rules of engagement are, because they seem to change week to week, or they feel like they do, is some of the decisions taken, so I hope it does, lap after lap. Hansi says the race lead will change lap after lap. I hope it's one of those where the DRS is so powerful that we're just seeing the lead change all the time. But I say that Verstappen has now broken DRS to Norris, although, yeah, Norris hasn't got DRS. So I want to see a replay of the Leclerc one. Because he went in hot there, Leclerc. There goes Hamilton past Fernando Alonso and up into 7th place. And next up for him is Gabriel Bortoleto, who's still relatively in touch with George Russell. But really, we're looking at 2 races at the moment. Verstappen and Norris, and Leclerc and everyone else. Let's see what Verstappen did at the start here that got Norris so annoyed. So it was actually a good start from Norris. Got alongside Verstappen. Yep, I would say that's enough alongside. And then he says he was shoved onto the grass, but the grass kind of comes up here at Monza, doesn't it? It cuts in almost. And then Verstappen, yeah, I think you're giving that place back was the right call there from race control. I think that was fair. Yeah, the grass sort of, it's tarmac, or concrete or asphalt, whatever. And then suddenly it's grass, isn't it? It's not like the grass is... just watching the replay, the turn 4-5 here at the chicane. Yeah, I tell you what, Leclerc nearly in the back of Norris actually there. So we'll see. We're going to look back here from Verstappen's car, which could be interesting. Part of monitor's covering with TV. Yeah, no, I don't think he shoved him onto the grass there at all. He says he let the brakes go on purpose, is what Verstappen's saying. So it doesn't matter, though, because they have swapped place, and Verstappen's managed to take the lead back anyway. Verstappen now pulling away 1.6. Here goes Oscar Piastri around the outside of Charles Leclerc, who I assume he's going to fight it, is Leclerc. So he's not let him through, but Piastri does get back into P3 and can now chase after his teammate Lando Norris. But will Leclerc get a run at Piastri before he gets that opportunity? But I imagine once that McLaren is in clear air, it'll probably disappear. But then it didn't under the hands of Lando Norris, did it? So maybe... I think a few people actually yesterday in chat, and I believe Ted said something in the notebook. It might be somebody else on Sky. It's been a whole day since that. But I think a lot of people pointing out that actually McLaren don't seem to have that huge advantage a lot of people expected coming into this weekend. It's much closer. So maybe they just don't have the pace to pull away, because Verstappen now 1.7 clear of Norris. So I still think Norris needs this. Yeah. Ocon and Stroll noted for forcing the driver off the track. Be interested in a replay of that one. But Piastri is pulling away now. He is 8 tenths clear, nearly 9 tenths of Leclerc. So it is doable. But he's not disappearing, if that makes sense. He's still pulling away, but he's not vanished completely. Leclerc now closing in with the DRS, of course. But 1.9 now the gap at the front. So Verstappen has race pace here. That was my concern after yesterday with Max, was that it was just one of those... give it everything, flying laps in quali to get pole, as Hamilton passes Bortoleto and moves into 6th place. Lewis Hamilton's got a shot at a podium here if things stay bunched up like this one. So no further investigation of Tsunoda and Hamilton. That is confirmed now by race control. I think we seem to be running okay on the live timing. I think. So let me know if that lags at all, but I think we're okay. Yeah, Kerry says, when does Sean tell us he's taking a drink break and he reappears in a Merc shirt? I will disappear and change into a Mercedes shirt if this is jinxing things. I don't necessarily believe in the jinx, but sometimes things happen and it's just a coincidence, but it happens several times, you start to worry. Sticklebrick says, no, it's just Norris driving slow. Watch Oscar catch and take Lando before much longer. I mean, Piastri has now pulled 1.1 on Leclerc, so he's broken that DRS, and he's 3.7 behind his teammates. So remember that on lap 7, Sticklebrick, 3.7 Piastri to Norris. I'm giving you that job in case I come back to it. Russell can bother Charles, and Piastri is gone. If we get a Verstappen-Norris-Piastri fight for the win here, and then we get Leclerc, Russell and Hamilton battling for that sort of 4th, 5th, 6th, we're going to have a cracking Grand Prix. I don't know what lap times are like, and if we are 0.4 of a second quicker per lap, which is what we need for this to become a fastest race of all time type thing. But here we are. I think Bortoleto here as well doing a great job. He is only 8 tenths behind Lewis Hamilton. Ocon and Stroll under investigation for civil drive of the track. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that. It'd be nice to see what we're investigating. Kevin says I'd like to see Yuki at least catch Bortoletto. Gingerfest says McLaren is a more draggy car. They're usually in the bottom half of top speed. Tracks like Monza are going to be sacrificed for McLaren. Yeah, fair. That's fair. Hansi says Leclerc is not slow. He's driving a Ferrari. Yeah. Here goes Hadjot on an Alpine. I'm guessing Colapinto. It is indeed. Or no, it's Gasly, sorry. And then he cuts the corner. No, it was Colapinto. He cuts the corner through the bollards, and then he's going to have to give that back, which he obviously does. And that's the end of that. And look, Russell here now challenging Leclerc for P4. Piastri now 4.1 behind Norris, but only 1.1 clear of Leclerc. So we might see some tyre management here from the McLarens, but at the moment, Verstappen looking good out front. Long way to go. We're on lap 9 of 53. George Russell knows, of course, that if he can overtake in the gravel trap, that he will not be off track, according to the stewards. So he may as well give it a go, see what happens. I can't get over that move from Oscar Piastri on the opening lap around the outside of Charles Leclerc at Lesmo 1. That is not an overtaking spot usually. Maybe the inside, but the outside was certainly a ballsy move with your championship on the line there, or your championship lead on the line anyway. Not all of it. 5-second time penalty for Esteban Ocon for forcing another driver off the track. So let's see what that is for. It'd be nice to have a replay, but he is getting a penalty, Ocon. Nick says Bortoletto is driver of the day so far. Doing a great job. Still within a second of Hamilton and keeping Alonso at bay. I mean, I mentioned it in the comments section to the Hadjar video I did a few weeks ago during the summer break. Surely Bortoletto is bringing himself into the conversation for Rookie of the Year if he hasn't already. It was 100% Hadjar's until sort of Spain onwards, and then Bortoletto just kind of, yes, the car improved, but he turned up, and don't forget he's out-qualified Nico Hulkenberg quite a lot this season. Actually, on his debut, didn't he out-qualify Hulkenberg? So he's got to be in the conversation, but that is definitely a chat for another day. Here goes George Russell having a little wiggle behind Charles Leclerc. Not going to try it. Too far back. Lawson pits. Is that to DN? That's a very early pit stop for anybody. We're not expecting people in for quite some time at the moment. So that seems like a very early stop for Lawson. And now he's gone back out again on a set of hard tyres. He started on soft, that'll be why. But they should have gone further than 9 laps, those soft tyres. But there you go. There goes Stroll. Not enough space for... Yeah, Croft says he's not left a space there for Stroll. That was early doors at the second chicane. Yeah, a bit of a squeeze, wasn't there, to be fair? Started on softs. I don't know. I assume just thought about maybe getting some positions off the line, but it's not worked. He has got his stop out the way, though. And if those tyres on a full tank of fuel were going to do... Let me just go and check that, because I need to just check what the strategy was from Pirelli. So... if those hard tyres could do 28 to 34 laps or 32 to 38 laps, he'd done the opposite there. So they could, in theory, do 38 laps, which would take him towards the end of the race. So have they just thought, get the softs out of the way, put the hards on, and then run to the end on those hard tyres? They've done the opposite to that hard to soft strategy. I wonder if that's what they're trying there. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Lawson. It might be what he's doing there, but that is a long way to take those. I think they have to do more than a 38 as well. 43 laps to go, so it's doable as the fuel goes down, the track rubbers in, but I'd be surprised if they go to the end from there. Yeah, Lawson's already got the whole field. You never know. It seems unlikely, but we'll see. Max Verstappen, by the way, 3.3 seconds clear of Lando Norris, 4.5 back to Piastri and 2.4 back to Leclerc. Then Russell is still within 9/10 of Leclerc. Hamilton 1.3 further back. Bortoletto still within 2.2 of the Ferrari. Alonso 7/10 behind Bortoletto. Tsunoda 1.2 behind the Aston Martin, and Antonelli 7/10 behind Tsunoda and half a second clear of Ollie Bearman. So I think we're hitting that tyre management phase. We had a dramatic opening couple of laps there, which was good fun. But highlights of the race so far. Norris on the grass on the run to turn 1. Verstappen having to give the place back after cutting the chicane at turn 1. Piastri with an incredible move around the outside of Charles Leclerc at Lesmo 1. Leclerc defending hard, did get back through on Piastri, but ended up defending hard. Piastri wasn't happy. And Verstappen repassed Lando Norris for the lead. Ocon has a penalty for shoving Stroll off track. Shoving is maybe a bit over the top there. Pinched him off track. Give him a squeeze. A little bit of a squeeze there. We're watching Arthur Leclerc there in the Ferrari garage, and I'm sure there's a sensational reason why. Yeah. And why is Hadjar doing so poorly, says Kevin? I don't know. I don't know, mate. It's a shame. Oh, sorry, this is to Jonathan Wheatley. So I thought it was Ocon's radio. I was like, that's not what they're saying there. So Ocon's not happy with his 5-second penalty. It was a hydraulic issue for Nico Hulkenberg, I think Jonathan Wheatley was saying there. So they had to retire the car, which is a real shame. That's something else as well. I mean, mechanical problems are not the issues they used to be, are they? And that just removes a level of variability from races. Yeah, I'm struggling with words today. That is a word. It removes a variable is what I'm saying. So the chances of, I go back to the days when I was growing up and you'd be watching a driver dominating a Grand Prix and there was just a chance that the engine would go bang out of nowhere. So there's always that risk. Whereas now it's very much, if you're in clear air, you look after your tyres and your car, you're probably going to be able to cruise it to the end. And that's part of the product side of things I was talking about. Rookie drivers, they are still listing Lawson as a rookie. I would say now, certainly from Baku onwards, I wouldn't list him as a rookie. We agreed, didn't we? At the end of last season, we counted him as a rookie till the summer break because he hadn't raced at those early races in the season before, all those tracks, sorry. Whereas in the second half of the year, he's done a few of them. So that's what we agreed in chat. You may have changed your mind on that, but yeah, I wouldn't count Lawson as a rookie now. Here's Antonelli on board with him now, watching the battle for P9. I say battle, he's just following. We've got a DRS train here, haven't we, behind Bortoletto? That's what we've got going on. Which, again, you want to improve the product, get rid of that. Get rid of DRS, replace it with a push-to-pass, which I know is where we're heading in the future. But you have a push-to-pass, you can use it for attack or defend. You've got so much time per race that you can use on it, and there you go. A bit of an element in that. It just because once you get a DRS train, it's game over. I've never liked DRS because it is just fast car, cruise up to back of slow car, makes their life easy. Although I'm fairly confident, if you're new to F1, this will mean nothing, but I'm fairly confident Fernando Alonso wouldn't have minded DRS in Abu Dhabi back in 2010. He'd have been quite keen on that, I suspect. But there you go. Franco is no longer a rookie as well, says Moray. I'd give Franco a few more races. He did as rookie status because he didn't do the first 5 of this year. Something like that. So I give him a couple more, but he has done these tracks before, so not long before I cut that slack away. It has gone very flat. I expected it would. We have a DRS train behind Bortoletto, and Verstappen is now 4.1 clear of Norris, and Norris is 5.6 clear of Piastri. So I don't know. Piastri has Piastri just not got the pace today? Or is the tyre management going on with Norris and Piastri? Or I don't know. We've seen quite often over the last sort of 12, 18 months, haven't we? McLaren, their pace seems to disappear as they look after tyres early doors, and then they really floor it around pit stops and manage to extend it, and they're suddenly unstoppable. So maybe we're seeing that. But as people say, it's a very draggy car, so could just be that. But Max is very much gone at the moment. 4.3 doesn't sound like a lot, but in Formula One, that's basically a week. And he's still pulling away. I mean, his lap times, 23.1. He was 4 tenths quicker on the last lap than Lando Norris, who was a tenth quicker than his teammate. So, yeah. I think Piastri, if he hasn't got the pace today, which I feel like Piastri hasn't quite had the pace this weekend, so maybe it's just a track that he's not quick on. But I think Piastri would be content with that result because he's only dropping 3 points, isn't he, to Norris as opposed to potentially 7. So, yeah. Leclerc's fallen back. Russell is now dropping back from Leclerc. He's a second behind now, so that's all falling apart at the front. Hamilton 2.4 behind. As that's all opened out, he's stopped closing in. 10th quicker than Russell on that lap, though. Bortoletto is the leader of the DRS train. Hadjar then down in 16th, 2.5 off Stroll. Lawson's times, he's actually only a couple of tenths slower than Leclerc and as quick as George Russell at the moment. So some very nice laps coming here from Lawson, which might pay off later on if he doesn't have to stop again. But what state are those tyres going to be in by the time we get to the last 10 laps? It's all right being in P8 after you've run the tyres for pretty much the whole race. But if everyone's breezing past you because they're falling off a cliff, there's another one for you. Bring back the cliff, as we used to call it. You'll know what I mean if you've been watching long enough. Back in the days when the Pirelli tyres were just sort of like, yeah, I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine, yeah, I'm fine, dead. And then everyone just loses 5 seconds a lap and it completely, getting 3 stops a race and it was chaos. That'd be entertaining. But then it's just Sean talking tyres in these all the time. What's the pit loss delta here this weekend, says Ford? I don't have the number in front of me. I know it's one of the longest of the year. I can just, if you give me a second, I can... I can find it for you. FIA... Oh, they don't publish them anymore, do they? So I'll have to go to the official F1 website. So, total time for a pit stop last year, including the change, was, I'm not going to do an average, but roughly around 24 to 26 seconds seems to be for a stop. So what's that? So you're looking at a good 20 plus seconds in the pit lane, aren't you? Just driving through it. So that's a rough idea for you there. I can't do the average in that on doing, although based on where we're at the moment with the race, I probably could sit and do some maths, but we'll not risk it just yet in case I'm sat here doing sums and then suddenly Colapinto's leading because everyone else has crashed out. But yeah. With Lawson 28 seconds behind Bortoletto, he's almost undercut half the field, says Fudd. Neelish says, instead of a cliff, it should be a strongly sloped hillside. Yeah, right now it's an inconvenient incline, isn't it? Or decline with these tyres. They don't really fall off. I think, has somebody been wide into the gravel? There's a lot of gravel on the exit of Lesmo too, and if this is going to be a bit of a dull race, I'm pretty sure FOM and FIA would quite like to bring a safety car out for any reason. So keep an eye on that, though. I feel like somebody's been wide. There was a lot of dust in the air as well. Wait for the lap times they go across the line. Verstappen 22.8. Norris 23.2. Bloody hell, 0.4 of a second. Piastri 23.3. Could have been Piastri, a little bit slower than his last lap, but somebody kicked up dust out that corner for sure. About 24 seconds for a Monza pit stop, according to an F1 TV commentator, says cited canvas. Yeah, that'll be about what I said, sort of, what did I say, 24 to 26, didn't I? Or 25 to 26-ish, somewhere around there. So you knock off a 2.5 second stop, and there goes Antonelli on Tsunoda. Through he goes. Turn 4 incident involving Carlos Sainz noted for failing to follow the race director's instructions. Escape road. We'll get a replay, I'm sure. But there goes Antonelli past Yuki Tsunoda, who's going backwards. So, well, I think he's not going backwards at all. I mean, he's down one place, yes, but I mean, he qualified 10th, so I suppose technically he is where he qualified, but not where he started. So where is Lawson? So Lawson is 13 seconds behind Gasly. So he's at least got Gasly, Colapinto, Hadjar, Stroll, Ocon, Albon, Sainz, hasn't he? Probably Bearman as well. So he's doing a good job if he keeps his pace up. And his lap times are good, 23.8. And there is Sainz, yeah, didn't follow the race director's notice at all. It was quite late, though. But he still had time to head to the right, I think, or at least rejoin. Yeah, that'll be a penalty, maybe. Is this going to be Norris? It's going to be Norris that kicks up the dust. I said someone was wide. It was Lando Norris, yeah, kicking up the dust on the exit of Lesmo too. It was. I wasn't going mad. I thought my glasses needed cleaning. I was like, there's definitely some dust there. So it was Lando Norris. We are nearly 20 laps in now. We're on lap 19. As into the pits comes Ollie Bearman. I wonder if they are having to react, because that's a slightly earlier stop than I think they were projecting. The medium tyres, according to Pirelli pre-race, based on their data, was lap 22 to 28. So it's 2 or 3 laps early here for Bearman. So I wonder if they are just having to cover off Liam Lawson. And if that's the plan, it's not worked, has it? No, because Lawson's gone through. So Lawson has undercut up to and including P11, so soon be P12, P10, sorry. So if he isn't stopping again, which is, it seems unlikely, but it is theoretically possible. Look at all the gravel. They're on it on Sky commentary. They're already on it on Sky commentary. Oh, there's so much gravel. Someone will surely die. Quickly get out of the safety car. But yeah, there is a lot of gravel there, to be fair. Anushka says, wait, I joined now after lap 7. How is Piastri 11 seconds behind Lando? He's 6 seconds behind Lando, but he's 11 seconds off the lead, Anushka. It's not quite as bad as that for him, but they are getting ready for a stop here. Is this going to be Max Verstappen in, or is it Yuki Tsunoda? It must be Yuki Tsunoda. I think they're covering Lawson. Get him out of the DRS as well. But I mean, yeah, that's. I think Crofty said there that Bearman's stop has triggered everybody else. I don't think it has. I think Lawson's sudden pace, but then surely the tyre delta is going to be so huge that people will breeze past him anyway. But people haven't been breezing past anybody of late, have they? So let's see. Here we go. So there goes Lawson past Tsunoda. Again, I'm going to keep an eye on Liam Lawson. It could be the most exciting thing that happens now in this race. But to get to Anushka's point, sorry, Anushka, I don't know if you caught the start. I'm sure you did, but we had a bit of drama at the start with Norris and Verstappen into turn 1 on the run to turn 1. Verstappen had to give the place back and then managed to get past Norris anyway. Piastri fell behind Leclerc at the start, but then made the most incredible overtake around the outside of Lesmo 1, then fell back behind again, then got back past, and that cost him time. But when he got past Leclerc, it was 3.7 seconds the gap, so he's not breezed up to the back of Lando Norris. And I'm just theorising that either we're talking tyre preservation, which seems 6.4 seems a big gap for that, but whether it's just one of those weekends where Piastri is not the quicker of the two McLarens, I don't know. But I tell you what, Gasly's gone over those serrated curves on the exit of the second Lesmo really aggressively. Some sparks flying up the back there as he came back down to earth. And we've got a race in the pit lane between agent and manager. Alonso versus Bortoleto. This is the most exciting thing that's happened since lap 3. Alonso's made his stop. On go the hard tyres. Is Bortoleto's stop okay? On go his hard tyres. It's going to be close. And Alonso, I think, has just pipped him. I think he has. Alonso is ahead of Bortoleto. Great stop there from Aston Martin. Here comes Liam Lawson, who hasn't quite... Has he got Bortoleto? He's got Bortoleto, and he's right on the back of Alonso. I'm telling you. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Long way to go. Could be looking at our driver of the day here. But that wasn't far off undercutting Alonso. What a job there from Lawson. Having a little look at Alonso, but he's not going to get through there quite the gap. But yeah, I forgot what I was saying now. But yeah, we have had a little race there. Bortoleto now behind Alonso. Yeah, Lawson pitted on lap 9, Kevin. He started on the softs, pitted on lap 9. Alonso, look at that pit entry right on the back of Bortoleto as late as he could on the brakes. But yeah, pitted on lap 9, got rid of those and put the hards on. 43 laps-ish on the hards, I think we worked out, which sounds like a lot, but Pirelli did say at the start of the race the hards will run for about 38 laps. So 38, 43, that's 5 extra laps as your fuel comes down, track rubbers in. Bit of management, it is possible, but I feel they're going to fall off a cliff, to be honest. So I'd be surprised, even if he does get to the end on them, I'd be surprised if he's got any grip when, I don't know, Bortoleto or Bearman or Tsunoda, whoever catches him and starts to challenge. But it's worth a go. If you're right down the back of the field, you may as well give it a go. You may as well give it a go. 6 seconds is the gap at the front now. Max Verstappen, last lap, very, very narrowly narrowly quicker than Norris. We're talking a few hundredths of a second. So, but yeah, if you are just tuning in, you've missed the first 22 laps. Really, as we watched Bortoleto passing Liam Lawson there, I just think that Sauber's a quicker car, to be fair. But if you, it already happened in the first couple of laps, really. Since then, Verstappen's pulled away comfortably. Norris seems to have Piastri under control. Leclerc's fallen off Piastri. Russell way back now, 2.1 seconds. Hamilton a couple of seconds back. Antonelli nearly 9 seconds back now. Then it's Sainz, and then it's just DRS train for the rest of the grid. So, yeah. Listen to Karun Chandok. Just saying that Bortoleto passes for net position. What I will say now, though, on the Lawson fun we've been having, Bearman is now right on the back of him. So those tyres are not going to go to the end with any speed in them if already the drivers that he's undercut are passing him. So it was good fun. It was good fun. The idea was there. It was possible. But as Nick says, the two-stop race for Lawson is too slow now. It was always likely, wasn't it? We're pitting that early, but... unless they're thinking safety car on the latest stop, but something would have to happen for there to be a safety car. So we are, by the way, on lap 23 of 53. We are hurtling towards the halfway point here. The race is flying by, as it often does around Monza. The clock, I kind of wish the clock was counting up today, just so you see how long the race has been. But I suppose simple maths would work it out, wouldn't it? It's a 2-hour clock and we're at 1:27. So, I mean, there you go. But we're 30 minutes into the race, so it should be over now, says Charlie. Yeah, come on. This is a long race at Monza. This is too long. Way too long. We're just watching a little lock up there for Lawson, which is what allowed Bortoleto to switch back and get the run at him out of turn 2 into Curva Grande. It's going down the inside. Nice little move. That Lawson just leaves enough space. And there goes Bortoleto to chase after Fernando Alonso. And chase after Fernando Alonso, he is last lap a tenth quicker, closing in. That pit stop really hasn't worked for Tsunoda, says Fudd. Those who he was holding up are now lapping faster than he currently is. Yeah, Bortoleto was his own cork in the bottle, but not quite as dramatically. Tsunoda definitely felt like that, didn't he, when we're looking at the gaps. But 24-2 for Tsunoda, who's sort of tucked up behind Bearman and Lawson at the moment, compared to 23-8 for Sainz, 23-7 for Albon, 23-7 for Ocon, 23-9. Yeah, 23-9. It's Colapinto. It's not until he gets Colapinto that Tsunoda is quicker than. So, a shame for Tsunoda. I don't think Norris is slow. Max just has more top speed, says Addy Boy. No, I don't think either McLaren is slow. I just don't think they seem to have an answer at the moment for Max Verstappen. He's got that top speed. He's got, like I said, they've shaved pre-qualifying. They shaved a few bits off that rear wing to make him even more slippery. He just seemed to cruise past Norris, didn't he, in a straight line when he got there. That said, speed trap speeds, the McLaren's slightly quicker than Verstappen. Best speeds, Verstappen 324. Norris 325 and Piastri 328. So actually, well, I suppose it depends what Verstappen. Oh, that's Alonso stopping. Park it right there, Fernando. He's on a cruise here. He's close enough, I think, to the pit lane. He's going to come through Parabolica. Here goes Alex Albon on Carlos Sainz around the outside of Curva Grande and then the inside of the second chicane. Through he goes. Alonso will make it to the pit lane. In he comes. What has happened to Fernando Alonso? He doesn't want to be retiring. I said 19 finishes on Thursday. Please, Fernando, don't retire. Is it a puncture? It is indeed a puncture. Right front, I believe. He's retiring. There's no tyres ready. Or is it suspension? Maybe. Suspension failure. This is unbelievable, says Fernando Alonso. It is suspension, yeah. On the right front, his right front, the left as we look at it. Oh, Fernando. What's happened? It's going to be over this curb. It is on the exit. Oh, the exit of Ascari. Over the serrated curbs, and it just snaps, just breaks. All the energy in that, and bang, wow. That just shows the energy, doesn't it, involved in these cars and these curbs and these tracks. It's madness. Yeah. If you're catching the replay now, you'll see what I mean. But that was quite a moment there. Over the curbs, serrated curves on the exit, and snap. Turn incident involving Carlos Sainz under investigation, failing to follow race director's notes, the escape road instructions. If they're giving penalties out for that, that's a penalty, I'm afraid, because he definitely did not do the right thing there. Yeah, lucky to stay on track. I mean, I don't want to be judgmental. I've been defending young people today quite a bit. But maybe a driver of less experience there, or less experience, turns that round and ends up in the wall on the inside. But we'll never know. Hopefully we'll not find out. But Fernando Alonso out the race because of suspension failure, and Nico Hulkenberg, we believe, because of hydraulics. Game over for those two of the most experienced drivers on the grid. In fact, no, Hulkenberg was post-Hamilton, wasn't he? Yeah, two of the most experienced on the grid. Hamilton is more experienced than Hulkenberg in F1. Piastri, considering plan A plus 15, do you think that's possible? Oh, bloody hell. So plan A, you would assume, is the one stopper, which is going to be mediums to hards, which is lap 28 plus, what was that, 16 did he say, or 15? So we're going a long way into this race before we get any pit stops at the front, by the sounds of it. And if Piastri's tyres are fine, given all the racing he did, Max Verstappen's and Lando Norris's, you would assume, are fine. I will say, we have got a battle brewing here. Lewis Hamilton now 1.2 behind George Russell. Mercedes just haven't had the pace this weekend, have they? So I wonder if the temperature, I mean, we are 27 air, 42.9 track, so they like the cooler temperatures, don't they? Lawson now drops to 18th, so my fronts are dead in traffic, says Sight. So, yeah, our dream of Liam Lawson undercutting everybody has not come true. How the hell does this happen? Come on, man. No way Stroll scores points too. I mean, he's P11 at the moment. It's possible. Ultimate kick in the balls for Fernando Alonso. Yeah. I think the rest of the field has tyre temperatures under control. George Russell pits, negating McLaren's advantage, says Nilesh. That's one to keep an eye on. But yeah, in comes Russell, out goes Russell. 2.9 for the stops. That is a slow stop, which might, you're looking at sort of what, half a second to nearly a second there lost in the pit. So how the tyres lasting this long, says Mark. We've got to remember that was it before last year's race? It was resurfaced, wasn't it? So that track has matured nicely. It's still quite fresh. It's a well-used circuit as well, Monza, isn't it? So there's always good rubber down. So I think just it's a reprimand for Carlos Sainz. What are your thoughts about continuing to put a soft on? Yeah, I mean, may as well continue for now. Yeah, says Norris. So they're thinking soft, which was that second. I'll come back to that in a second. Second strategy was the hard to lap 38 and then the one stopper to put the soft on. So Liam Lawson here is going to have a go at Yuki Tsunoda, who is, they're banging wheels. They do indeed. And then they cut the chicane. And Tsunoda definitely puts a squeeze on there. What is he doing, bro? Says Tsunoda. He's on your outside and you've put the squeeze on, mate. But it's a bit ballsy to go around the outside there. Then Tsunoda's going to go past and wave his fist or whatever. No, he doesn't. He just goes past. But just to let you know, without dumping on Yuki too much, that is the battle between Yuki Tsunoda in a Red Bull and Liam Lawson in a Racing Bulls for what is currently P17, but will be, hopefully, for higher up for Yuki. Sykes got a reprimand. I can't remember the last time we got a reprimand in race. Martin Brundle, I was just going to say, very similar to what Martin Brundle said. He just said, you may as well then go into that corner, banzai through the escape road, not follow the race director's instructions, gain 2 or 3 seconds, and then just get a reprimand for it. That's surprising. So that is for the incident we saw earlier where Carlos Sainz went off track and didn't follow the little run off the yellow lines to rejoin the track. That's interesting. Obviously, Martin Brundle being a little bit hyperbolic there. A little bit over the top, let's say. But yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, you've put a price on it now. It's a reprimand, so... Max Verstappen's front right looks... Is that great? I hope it's not blistering, but is that graining? We don't see a lot of blistering these days, do we? I think of tyre blistering. Here goes Grandad again. And I think back to the Spanish Grand Prix of 1997 when the good years were just collapsing for some reason. That always comes into my head. Black and white flag for Antonelli for track limits. So I probably should have the track limits tracker up to keep an eye on that one, actually. But he's now in trouble. Can't do that again. I mean, it depends on what the situation is. If it's graining, he can sort of drive through that, can't he? But if it's a blister or it's opening up or anything, then he may be in trouble. What I will say is Norris on that last lap was a tenth quicker, so he is closing in now a little bit. So pace is picking up at the front. Are we getting ready for starts? George Russell, by the way, 122.4 is now 48 off the lead. 4, 5, 6, 7. He's going to get close to Leclerc here. 3 tenths quicker than Leclerc on that lap. So he's got a shot here at undercutting Leclerc. Ferrari may need to react and so probably won't. The problem with F1 these days, says Charlie, is that everyone is too good at their jobs. Do you know what? That's a really positive spin to put on that. A lot of people say, oh, it's just because everything's too durable and the tyres are too good and no one makes mistakes anymore. But actually, that's a really nice spin on it. Everyone's just too good at what they do. There you go. I like that, Charlie. That's F1 Stewards' apology for not being summoned to Carlos's trailer last weekend, I guess. Yeah, maybe they just feel bad about the penalty that was never a penalty in Zandvoort. I doubt that's the case. Of course, it isn't the case. It's a joke. But Sainz pits. In he comes. With his reprimand hanging over him. See what... I'm intrigued where he comes out here, because I think the Tsunoda Bearman area, he'll be hoping to be well ahead of them. Let's see. Looked a little bit slow. Not the fastest I've seen. 3 seconds. So quite a bit slow. So he's going to fall behind Antonelli, Russell, Bortoletto and co. Does fall behind Bearman, but he is ahead of Tsunoda. So what... Tsunoda was ahead of Bearman before they pitted. But now he's battling Lawson for position, which is now P17. And he's been undercut or overcut comfortably by Carlos Sainz. 4.3 seconds. Meanwhile, his teammate is coming up to lap him. His teammate is Max Verstappen, though, so, you know. Here's Colapinto. Just did he catch the grass there and then lock up on the outside of turn 1? Cut across the chicane? Across that gravel strip that we're still trying to work out. F1 is excellent. The lack of it is penalty, says Tommy. Kind of missed the sudden delamination of the tyres, says Alfie. Seems like the Red Bull finally munched its tyres, says Addy Boy. Well, he's increased his gap again on that lap. Did Verstappen 2 tenths quicker-ish than Lando Norris. So his pace is coming back. I'm just surprised at Tsunoda. But should I be? Because he was ahead of Bearman. And now Bearman's clear of him and Sainz has overcut him. So... Alpines haven't pit yet, says Nilesh. Nick says Colapinto and P12. How did that happen? Yeah, they haven't. But like Nilesh has not pitted yet. But they can run to 38 on those. In fact, I think... The mediums could do up to 38 laps as well, according to Pirelli P Race. So you can go 38 laps on the mediums or the hards and then put the softs on to the end. So... Martin Brundle just explaining why it's a long pit time here. It's not the length of the pit lane. It's the fact that everybody is flat out down the straight while you're driving much slower in the pit lane, which is why it's such a big loss. So... Yeah, one stop is what they're going to try. It sounds like McLaren are thinking to put the softs on, so they're going to go at least another 5 laps. We've got 21 to go. I mean, this race is disappearing. It's not been the most thrilling. There's been a couple of really nice bits of intrigue outside of those first few laps, hasn't there? The Lawson stuff kept us excited. Excited. But, yeah, Hadjar's in the pits now, so a few bits have been interesting. But we are... past the halfway point, so well past the halfway point, so I usually throw this at you. What would you rate this out of 10 based on the here and now, right this second, on lap 33 with 21 to go? What would you give this race out of 10? And then we'll review that after the race and see if anything happens in his final 21 laps to spice it up. I can't see many going above a 6, but you might surprise me and give it a 10. I don't know. I can actually Kevin be like, oh, 15. I think there's been a few bits. The first few, if we have the first few laps and bottle that was great stuff. As is often the case with F1 races, of course. But there's been some interesting stuff on strategy that I'm keeping an eye on. Leclerc told to box, I suspect, a little bit too late here. This is going to be close, I think, with it might not be as close as I fear, actually. George Russell, did he slow down in time? Lock up on his way, and he might be okay, Leclerc. Here go the hard tyres onto the car. Looked like a good stop. 2 points. That was ballsy, wasn't it? 2 point something. It's not even come on screen yet, and I'm assuming 2. Looked okay, though. There goes somebody flying past him. That's going to be Albon. It wasn't close for George Russell at all, was it, in the end? I thought that was going to be... I'm thinking of Hamilton that might be close for George Russell, maybe. That's maybe what I'm on with here. Yeah, it would be 20 seconds. I was looking at the wrong time, then there we go. Cited Canvas says -10. There you go. Raymond says score. I don't know if that's -2 out of 10 or 2 out of 10, but I'll say both just in case. Kevin's going with 15. He's not really. Stickerbrick says 4. Jay Fraser says 5. Bruss says 2. Neelish says 4. Michael says 6. Johnny says 8. MS says 5. 7 for Pancon. Happy for Max and Bottas's race so far. Mark says this is a 3 so far, and Jordan's gone with a 5. Ocon. What's wrong with Ocon? Somebody asked me there. Where are you? I've lost you. Michael, what's up with Ocon? Nothing as far as I know. He's got 33 laps on these hards, so we can go another 5 at least. I think Russell's caught behind Alonso. That's what's happened. Stroll, sorry, that's what's happened here. Because Stroll has yet to stop because he'll just run for everyone knows. But yes, Ocon's fine. His lap times are okay, 23.7. That's comparable with those that he's... I mean, Gaz is on a 24.4. So it's not bad. He's matching Stroll. He's a little bit quicker than Stroll, actually. So he's about where he needs to be there. Ocon, but he is yet to stop. In fact, most people are yet to stop. Leclerc, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Bearman, Sainz, Hadjar, Tsunoda, Lawson, Colapinto have pitted. So about half the grid have pitted, half haven't. It's not quite most. But yeah, through goes Russell on Stroll, by the way. That's got to have hurt his race there. Gap to Hamilton is about 20 seconds. Hamilton to Russell, give or take a few tenths. The symbol by his name. Oh, that's a penalty. Symbol by his name is a penalty. He's got a 5-second time penalty, Michael. Sorry. Just watching Leclerc. All locked up into that pit. I hope he slowed down. We'll soon find out. That was for forcing Lance Stroll off track, I believe. Was it Stroll or was it Tsunoda? Stroll. There we go. Very early on in the race. So, I mean, I hope Leclerc got that slowed down. Black and white flag for Gasly for track limits. Yeah. Hadjar ahead of Yuki, my God, says Kevin. Yeah. It's not worked for... Whatever Tsunoda's been trying to do, it just hasn't worked, has it, at all? I feel that's an evergreen statement for poor Yuki, to be honest with you. Leclerc fastest lap 22.1. Doesn't count for a point, of course, these days. That's all gone. And here goes Russell now on Esteban Ocon for P7. So he's got to get on with this, Russell. He seems to be closing now. 22.8, 22.9 Russell to Hamilton in terms of lap time. So he's quicker still. But that's really Russell's race, is Hamilton. What are your thoughts on the soft tyre, Norris has asked? Yeah, well, I guess the opposite of the car ahead is what Norris has been decided to say. So... I mean, it's all right saying the opposite of the car ahead, but if Verstappen puts on the softs, you're not going to put the hards on, are you, surely? Interesting. 22.6 and 22.6 the times at the front there. So the gap is down to 5.4, 22.2 for Piastri, who's actually 4 tenths quicker than both of those ahead. So let's see if that's a one-off or if Piastri has actually got a bit more life in his tyres than we thought. But I'd expect them in the next sort of 3 or 4 laps, if not sooner. But they seem to be managing these tyres really, really nicely. And I feel like if Pirelli is taking notes, then maybe next year we need to go a step softer. The problem is next year we've got brand new cars, so the chances are Pirelli will play it on the conservative side for much of next season, because I don't know how these tyres are necessarily going to perform or behave in races. It's all, you can run all the testing you want. There's no substitute for an actual race, so Pirelli will likely play it somewhat conservative next year, which is thrilling for much of the season. But yeah, we'll see what the lap times are. Let's not worry about next year. We'll worry about this year for now. Verstappen has just lapped Colapinto. Norris about to lap him as well. So Verstappen hasn't caught him. I tell you what, Tsunoda's pace is enough to not have to worry about his teammate at the moment, as Verstappen is told to box a lap earlier than I thought they'd maybe do that. So, interesting. I'd have thought they could have got another lap or two there. Norris goes on. Piastri goes on. It's the hard tyre for Verstappen. So this might pick up. Verstappen will come out in a lot of clear air, I imagine. Hamilton is a minor annoyance potentially, but no, he's coming out of his way back there. It looks closer on the driver tracker than it is in reality. But yeah. So Verstappen now, surely, I suppose the argument for the hard is that Verstappen can now push them flat out to the end, can't he, without having to worry about too much about degradation or anything like that. So now he can just push and try and build the biggest gap he can to Norris. But I'm surprised, actually, they've gone with the hards. I'd have thought you may as well stay out and put the softs on, but then if the car doesn't work with the softs, then pointless, isn't it? The soft kind of sucks, says Nilo, so that could be why, yeah. I heard Checo and Bottas will be with the new American team. They will, Tommy. Yeah, they've got the Cadillac drive, those two. They're not sharing it. They've got a seat each. Colton Herta is going to be the test driver. And I believe he's doing F2 next year, Colton Herta. So they are keen to get him the F2 points, or the super license points, for Formula 2. So he's moving from IndyCar to F2, which I think maybe continues to highlight the issue with the FIA super license point system. But the IndyCar series isn't an FIA series, so fair enough. But yeah, it'll be good. I think F2 will be good for Colton Herta, by the way, just very quickly while we see this. The battery is a joke, says Sainz, but I think the good thing for Colton Herta is it'll get into F2, learn about the tyres, learn about the tracks, learn about the way an F1 weekend works, and I think that's probably better for him than sticking in IndyCar if the goal is Formula One. I was gonna say Formula 2 is an easier route to F1 as well, but I mean, ask Felipe Drugovich about that. He'd probably have a different opinion. And a few other champions from down the years and other drivers that have done very well in Formula 2 that never made it to F1. So let's see. But yeah, that if he gets the super license points in F2, that can make him reserve driver then at Cadillac at the very least, can't it? So he can't do the reserve role at the moment because you need the points. We are 15 laps to go, and we've not even hit an hour into this race yet. So this is going to get quite close to the fastest race of all time, I think. Good shout, actually, that from Sticklebrick. Norris still not past Colapinto as we watch Antonelli and Gasly battling for a P10 there, but I don't think Gasly has pitted. He hasn't at all. Antonelli's involved. God knows what's going to happen here. He goes to the outside of Curva Grande. Bless him. He's going to have the inside line. Through he goes and into P10. Crofty getting very excited there about an overtake for P10. But Antonelli's through. Points at his home Grand Prix on the cards. You would fancy him to get past Stroll and Ocon. But who's yet to stop? The leaders. Albon up in 4th place, just casually doing that there. Ocon, Stroll and Gasly all yet to stop. So if you're Gasly, started right down the back, you sort of hang for a safety car a bit now, don't you? Or at least try and go as long as you can and put a soft on so you've got lots of life in them. But nothing to lose when you start that far down the grid. As Verstappen does a 1:21.4 and is 1.2 seconds quicker than Lando Norris. So here's the thing, right? If Max Verstappen can build a big enough gap whilst he's chasing down the McLarens, then the soft tyre might be irrelevant anyway. There's only going to be at best 13 laps left when the McLaren's pit. So Yeah. Bottas having a little look there at Gasly. But Verstappen is again a tenth and 2/10 quicker than the two McLarens on this lap. And then again, 4/10 in the middle sector on Norris and a tenth quicker than Piastri. So Piastri's quicker than Norris at the moment, doing personal best. And Max Verstappen now closing in. Norris did pass Colapinto on that lap, so there might be an element of dirty air there. That's going to be a collision. I was waiting for that. And that is a Haas and a Williams, which is surely Bearman and Sainz. It is indeed. I wait for a replay, but it looked like Sainz around the outside, Bearman on the inside, contact, boom, game over. But they're both still running, so that's them in a spin. Yeah, maybe Sticker. He's listening to us. Sean and Stickerbrick have picked up on the fact of not past Colapinto. Through a go. It's what's happening. Hi, Lando, if you're listening, you know. Slow down a bit, make it interesting. Give us a battle with your teammate for the end. Try and make it interesting. Here goes Lewis Hamilton passing Lance Stroll. Of course, Hamilton has pitted, Stroll hasn't, so Stroll won't fight that too hard. Lewis Hamilton up into 8th place. So your order is Norris, Piastri, yet to stop. Verstappen has stopped. Albon 4th, yet to stop. Bortoletto passes Gasly there. Leclerc 5th has pitted. Russell 6th has stopped. Ocon yet to stop in 7th. Hamilton has pitted in 8th. Stroll yet to stop in 9th. Antonelli and Bortoletto both pitted 10th and 11th. Gasly yet to stop in 12th. And then it's 13th for Hadjar, 14th Sainz, 15th Bearman, 16th Tsunoda, 17th Lawson, 18th Colapinto. They have all stopped. Alonso out with a suspension failure and Hulkenberg with hydraulic. And this is Sainz. So Sainz goes to the outside of turn 2 and Bearman. I think Sainz has got that. Yeah, Sainz has got that corner. I think that's on Bearman. Well... Bloody hell, it's the... I forgot about that. Sorry, if you caught that on the stream, that's the emergency alert test in the UK. I forgot about that. I meant to turn my phone off. I was going, what's Bearman saying to have those beeps like that? That's some hellish swearing there from Ollie Bearman. Sorry about that, everyone. I completely forgot it's the emergency alert. I don't need to take any action. In a real emergency, follow the instructions in the alert to keep yourself and others safe. Find a simple and effective advice on how to prepare for emergencies at gov.uk/prepare. Completely forgot about that. Sorry, everyone. I was watching the incident. I thought it was Bearman swearing. I was like, God. Sorry. I apologise. I'm not popular enough for that to be a person. It was always going to be something government related. Thank you, UK government. Yeah. Martin Brundle calling that a racing incident between Bearman and Sainz. If you care enough to get excited about it, do let me know what you think in the chat. I'd say if you had to put a portion blame, then I'd put it on Bearman. I think Sainz had that corner. He was round the outside. He was ahead going into it. It was definitely ahead at the apex, but they're both still going. Not big of a deal, but yeah. Yeah. Fud tapping into our brain. I didn't say it, that's why I said yeah instead. Says Bearman 100% driving to Sainz, 10-second penalty to Sainz. There you go. Yeah, it has to be. Tommy says, I heard about the test for the UK and I'm in the US. Yeah, we like to let everyone know when we're doing something really exciting on a Sunday afternoon. Although without getting too into politics in the way of the world, I heard the alert and I got excited that maybe that was it and we could all just rest. That's a really morbid end to, or not end to the race, but wherever we are in the race. It's still on my phone. It won't go away. There we go. Leave me alone, government. Can't go anywhere anymore, can you? God. Again, I honestly thought, because we were watching Bearman's radio, when that went off, Bearman was saying something so unbelievably disgusting, they had to censor it with a brand new beep that was incredibly loud. But there you go. No asteroid to worry about just yet. We're all good. I tell you what, though. One thing to keep it at 10 laps to go. This just flies by. It doesn't matter how exciting or how dull a race at Monza is, because it's such a fast lap. it flies by every time. 3.7 seconds is a gap at the front. Oscar Piastri took 0.6 out of Norris on that lap. He's bringing himself back into play. Now, would McLaren allow him to try an undercut? I'm saying this slightly tongue-in-cheek, so Norris fans don't get upset with me. I am saying it tongue-in-cheek, but if the boot was on the other foot, I'm pretty sure they'd allow Norris to try it. So let's see if they let Piastri try it. It's not a serious comment. Let's see if... I'll tell you what the big story is. Can Piastri clear Colapinto quicker than Norris did? And I am going to start calling Lando Norris just Loris, because I keep using his full name and I still get it wrong. This is Albon having a go at Antonelli, and Antonelli says, nah, you're not coming through here, mate. That's my corner, and stays ahead. That's exactly what he says. He's going to get a run at him here, though, through Curva Grande, and it's going to be... And on the grass goes Alex Albon. Why are we watching Piastri when we should be watching Alex Albon full screen, nearly doing a Cush Miney there, and round at Curva Grande, but he's going to go around the outside of that second chicane. Does he get past Antonelli? He does indeed, and Alex Albon with a nice move up into P9. He was on the grass there at Curva Grande, though. 22.3 and 22.4, the last lap for the McLaren, so Norris very slightly quicker. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen is 1.1 seconds quicker than Norris and 1.2 quicker than Piastri. So I don't want to jump to conclusions here, but I don't even think the soft tyre is going to save McLaren here. Max Verstappen is going to be well up the road when this is all shakes out with that kind of pace. And he can keep pushing those hards all the way to the end, can't he? I will say as well, and I know this will be a very unpopular opinion, much like the Alex Dunn one, I don't think there's anything in that. He's put the squeeze on, he's allowed to do that. But yeah, nothing there for me. In fact, I don't think Alex Albon moaned unless I missed it on the radio, so there you go. So Norris has been told there'll be no undercut, but then they're going to pit Piastri first. So Norris was asked to pit. Norris has then said, do you want to pit the other car first? He then said, they said they swap it around. Norris then said, but only if it doesn't undercut me. And they said there'd be no undercut. So have they called off the battle? That's a 1.9 second stop for Piastri. The gap was 3.3. If Piastri puts in a stop... I mean, they're saying no undercut, unless they just swap them back if there was an undercut. But Piastri can easily undercut this. 3.3 seconds, a 1.9 second stop. It's only going to take Norris to be half a second slower in his stop and a really banging out lap from Piastri for that to be a serious issue. So I'm guessing they would just ask them to swap back around, but then... You're asking the World Championship leader to let go his only rival for the championship. I mean, if Piastri does that and lets him back through, he's a better man than me, because I wouldn't. Max Verstappen wouldn't. Lewis Hamilton wouldn't. Michael Schumacher wouldn't. Let's see what happens. Yeah. 10-second time penalty for Ollie Bearman. Yeah, sure. I think 10 seconds is the standard for causing a collision, isn't it? But yeah, I'm not sure that's worthy of 10. So there goes. It's a slow stop. It's a very slow stop for Lando Norris. He's still sat there. What has happened? A 5.9 second stop. Well, that's going to be... What's happened there? Croft didn't get very excited. There was a very slow stop. 5.9. And we are boxing the cars the other way around to ensure we cover Leclerc. You are free with Lando once he's ahead of pit exit. And there goes Oscar Piastri into P2. That was a 5.9 second stop versus a 1.9 second stop. What do McLaren do now? There's not enough for tyre delta here. What's happened to Norris? In he comes, up on the jacks. Front wheels on all right. Oh, its front left was slow. And the gun wasn't working at all. It was the front left. What? I mean, they were trying to cover Leclerc, but they had 2.6 over Leclerc. They could have surely... it's not worth the risk, is it? Losing to Leclerc, that's the trouble. But now what do they do? good point from Martin Brundle there. Is this Hungary in reverse from last year about handing places back? Piastri does owe Norris one, doesn't he, in terms of giving positions back? But they weren't fighting for the Drivers' Championship last year between them. Chat, I've just made you Oscar Piastri. You shouldn't be typing while you're driving, but I'll ask you anyway. Would you give that place back if you were asked to? Yes or no? Yeah, if it's not the left front sticker brick, it's his left rear. It's always the left-hand side of the car, it seems to be. But I would never. I would not if I was Piastri, but I'm not saying he won't, but I wouldn't. This is, you know, this isn't... If Max Verstappen had disappeared with the championship... by the way, Verstappen is 18.2 seconds clear, so whatever the plan was with the soft tyres, it didn't work. No risk, full push, says Verstappen. You know, last year in Hungary, they were in the championship fight, but not really. It wasn't the same as they were. You know, Norris had a shot at Verstappen, but it didn't seem likely at that time, so swapping him over was easy. Whereas now they're fighting for a championship. Strands of Fate, I agree, says Piastri hasn't done anything wrong, so no. Very good point. Depends if there was a prior agreement, says Steph, but even so, I mean, again, but then Piastri only loses 3 in the championship. But then if we get to Abu Dhabi and Lando Norris wins the title by 2 points, we're looking back at Monza and calling it BS. But it looks like, I mean, Norris might have the pace to race him himself and just do it. But we got, 5 laps to go. They're asking him to let Lando past. Agree with Piastri, he's done it, but he says a slow pit stop is part of racing. He's done it, but I think that's a bit BS, but he's done a job. He's done what he was asked to do it. He's a team player, clearly. Norris did it in Hungary. He argued for a bit longer than Piastri did, but I suppose Norris had more laps to argue, but... you know, he can still pass him. He's within DRS. He can still have a go, but I agree with Piastri there. A slow pit stop, it's part of racing. That's part of it. So, you know, a penalty is part of racing. Should Norris not have given Piastri the position back in Silverstone? I'm not saying he should have. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If that's the argument, then yeah, interesting. But hey ho, they've done it. You're free to race. Clinical clear head, mate, is what Piastri's been told. But he's not going to have DRS unless he gets a good tow down to Parabolica. He did have it down on the run to Ascari. Verstappen is the leader and is cruising out front. He is okay. He was just slow for the corner. It's all right, Sean. Piastri will get DRS down the straight. So we've got a race on here between the two McLarens. But I don't understand. I mean, Leclerc is fairly close to them, but was it worth that gamble and giving yourself this awkward conversation? I mean, look, the slow pit stop isn't Lando's fault, but it's also not Oscar's fault, isn't it? It's part of racing, so yeah. Yeah, Stroll pits, by the way, with 4 laps to go. Where is he? I'm just a little bit... Yeah, I don't know. It sort of sums up how I feel about this championship. There's just no bite there. Just because he had Max Verstappen is laughing on the radio. Just because he had a slow stop is what he said when he told us what places. Yeah, Max Verstappen finds that hilarious. Yeah, it just sums up my feeling for the championship. Like, one of them's going to win it. I kind of feel like whatever. I don't know. Some people probably really love it, but I'm struggling to get too excited about it. And judging by a lot of people's fans' reactions generally on social media, they're not. It's very different when you've got an inter-team fight rather than a multiple team fight, isn't it? You know, Red Bull versus McLaren were very exciting or whatever, but a bit different when you've got these sort of games that can be played. And yeah, Crofty just said, I wonder if Max Verstappen would have complied. I could tell you now, Crofty, you're not listening, but I'll tell you right now, there's not a cat in king hell's chance that Max Verstappen would have complied if the boot was, if that was him in that situation, him versus Tsunoda for the championship, and he's told to let Tsunoda through. He just wouldn't do it, as we know from not letting Sergio Perez through, and that wasn't for the championship. So yeah, no way, absolutely no way. I don't know why it's like Crofty doesn't watch Formula One sometimes, isn't it, really? Just saying. Piastri has a huge lead in the championship anyway, so he doesn't care that much, says Nilesh. I mean, yeah, but if he loses the championship by 2 points, he'll care then. That's the point, but it's happened now. It's just, yeah. Far says, I don't understand the Lando hate. I hope that's not a question for me. Like, I don't hate any driver, Far, or Far68. Sorry, just Far is your name, Far. It's not Lando hate. I just don't... I'm just saying, most drivers in that situation probably wouldn't have swapped places, but Piastri obviously has felt he should. But I did say a minute ago, didn't I, that he sort of owes Lando one for Hungary last year, so maybe that's that now, evened out and sorted. But I've got a media schedule here from Racing Bulls for some reason, coming through after qualifying. Which actually not happened in qualifying to Racing Bulls, they've just sent the press release through. Yeah. McLaren screwed themselves when they promised no undercut. If they hadn't promised Lando that, he'd have pitted first, no arguments. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see why. I mean, Leclerc was 2.6 behind, did I say? He's now 4.1. I don't feel like there was too much concern there for McLaren. But then, having said that, had Norris pitted and been... No, it wouldn't have made a difference. Ignore me. Forget it. Doesn't matter. Ignore what I was going to say. Doesn't matter. I never said a word. But Max Verstappen, where is Max? Good old Max. He's just coming out that first corner, first couple of corners. Now, the gap is 1.6. So, again, I will make the point again, back to what we were talking about earlier. It does feel very much like Norris has just had the edge on his teammate in terms of outright pace this weekend. Even though Piastri was told to let him go, he is now 1.6 seconds behind. Driving erratically, 5-second time penalty for car 12, Kimi Antonelli. If that was for the Albon thing, then good God. I'm visually impaired and therefore have problems to read small letters. Therefore, big caps I can see. Is it forbidden here? Many channels don't allow it, says Bono. If you need to use all caps to be able to see what you type, that's absolutely fine. It's if you use big caps to shout at me and call me an arsehole, then it's not okay. But otherwise, yeah, I don't have generally an issue with all caps. We have to get a bit all caps when we get excited in races as well, so it's absolutely fine. But Max Verstappen comes around the final corner to win his third Grand Prix of the season. Max Verstappen in that Red Bull, not a great car at all, but he still manages to take 3 wins this season. A great victory at Monza, absolutely untouchable, 19.1 seconds clear come the end of that race. Lando Norris is going to come home P2 with Oscar Piastri in P3, 2.1 seconds behind between those. In the end, Lando Norris second and Piastri 3, which means the gap cuts down to 31 points in the championship. Oscar Piastri still very much in control. One of those weekends were actually doing a bit of a pros, wasn't he, in some ways, in that he's just going to have to take the maximum points he can. I will say, actually, prior to the instruction to let him through, Norris had got the gap down again to about 1.2, 1.3. So I do wonder if Norris would have the pace, but I would have liked to have seen that happen on track in a fight between the two drivers. The fact he pulled 2.1 seconds in a couple of laps says, maybe, or in 3 laps, says that he probably would have had the pace, but I'd like to have at least seen the battle between the drivers. But McLaren used their famous papaya rules. Papaya rules, which arguably shot them in the foot last year for the Drivers' Championship. But anyway, papaya rules nevertheless. And Max Verstappen started first, finished first, and won Driver of the Day. We'll do our Driver of the Day a little bit later on. So, I mean, the biggest talking point for this race is that McLaren employed team orders, and that's not even that big of a controversial thing, is it? I mean, it will wind people up, but probably more because not a lot else happened. Let's listen to Piastri's team radio. I'll relay it to you. Piastri saying once he calmed down a bit, he was all right, I think is what he said there. So this is, again, I'm not having a go at Piastri or Norris or anybody like that. I'm just saying this is what the issue is with this championship. They're so chummy and there's no bite to it that it's sort of like, and I said it in the video I did in the summer break, if Piastri wins, great. If Norris wins, great. I'm not fussed either way. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's because I'm not a Norris or Piastri fan. Maybe that's why I'm not as fussed. But it's not a particularly exciting title fight, despite the fact that up until last weekend it was sort of ebbing and flowing a bit between them. It's just not very thrilling. But inter-team battles don't tend to be, do they? Too much, unless it is a Senna versus Prost, which I can't ever see Piastri and Norris getting to. Tommy Guy says, what do the contracts say? I have no idea, Tommy Guy. Fair is fair. It's payback for last year, says SB. I did say he does owe him one, but I think the difference between last year and this year is that last year they weren't... Norris had a chance, but wasn't really in a title fight at that stage. Didn't feel like he was going to overhaul Max. And this year they are in a title fight between them, so it feels a bit different to last year, but I don't think that's an unfair point to make. But yeah. I'm not going to get involved in that because that's just social media bullshit. The whole, oh, you hate this and you hate that. If that's how you feel, then yeah, you don't know me, you don't know the channel very well, so that's fine. It must be new. Even Max not that excited over his third win of the season, F1 these days, says Nick. Does Max get excited anymore? It's all, another one. Add that to the list. I mean, look, say what you want about Max Verstappen. We know that car in the hands of a second driver is pretty bad. At the hands of Max Verstappen, it's still not the best car on the grid, is it? And he still won 3 races this year, despite the fact that McLaren have, clearly, by far and away, the best car on the grid. So, yeah. I think he's had a great season, Verstappen. Great's pushing it. He's had a very strong season. It's very difficult to call it great when you consider what he'd done for the previous 4. So, but I still think, all things considered, he's had a very, very good season. And he'll be back. He'll be back fighting for championships. If it's not at Red Bull, it'll be somewhere. Somebody will pick him up, probably Toto. Hamilton did all right considering a 5-place penalty, says Raymond. Yeah, we'll run through the order. But yeah, up 4 places, 4.5 behind Russell. I did think he might have a shot at Russell, actually, around the pit stops, but didn't really work out in the end, did it? But I think a few drivers there. I mean, look at Albon up in 7th place, up 7 positions on the grid. Hadjar up 9 places to P10 scoring points. That's a great result. So, run through the order shortly. I'll read your super chat in a second. If I'll do it now, Sad Mariners fan says, thank you for your super chat. Sad Mariners fan who's not from Grimsby says, prime example of why people dislike McLaren. Lando had a bad stop. It sucks. It's racing. Stop manufacturing a result to be fair. Agree. I sort of agree with the stop manufacturing result to be fair and the bad pit stops happen in racing bit. In this context, but 3 years ago in the battle for P9, then yeah, swap them round. Do you know what I mean? It's just because it's a championship fight. If it wasn't a championship fight, I'd be like, oh, well, fair enough, whatever. But because there is that battle, we'll all be thinking of Monza in Abu Dhabi if Piastri loses the title by 2 points. What I would say as well, final point just for now on that before I run through the order. If Oscar Piastri has a bad pit stop in a few races' time, McLaren have got a real big decision to make, and they may have made a rod for their own back there. I think, just my opinion, I think looking at the laps, the couple of laps after that pit stop, I think Norris probably had the pace to fight for that P2 anyway, and may well have got Piastri, but I'd rather see that fight on track. Even if they'd left it till like the penultimate lap or something, given them 2 or 3 laps to race, and then gone, right, Norris can't get through, not your fault, Oscar, but it's also not Lando's fault. We're going to swap you around. We'd at least had seen if Norris could have done it on track. But I will make the point again that I made. Verstappen doesn't follow that order. Schumacher doesn't follow that order. I'd argue Hamilton doesn't follow that order. If he's battling his driver for the teammate for a championship, yeah. Could you imagine, actually? I'm going to go get a drink and then I will do the order. But could you imagine flipping that around just for a second, going back in time a long way? Team Radio. Ayrton Senna's Or Alain Prost's engineer coming over saying, can you let your teammate through, please? He had a bad pit stop. Oh, let's all invent a time machine and go and cause that. Let's go see what happens, because I can imagine that would get very spicy. But anyway, that's a completely irrelevant conversation because Senna and Prost was 40 years ago now. But I just thought I'd raise that as quite a funny side note. But I'm going to get a drink, then I'll come back and do the order, then I'll answer your questions. We'll talk about the race. You can ask me questions about this. We'll discuss it a bit more, and I'll try and show some interest. Count me. I'm going to do a pit stop. Let's see if it's 4 seconds slower. Right, so where are we at? 155, we'll call it. There you go. Right, stick or brick. 40 years. Feels like yesterday. Yeah, right. It's getting on 40 years now. Anyway, Max Verstappen has won the 2025 Italian Grand Prix at Monza from Lando Norris, who finished P2, and Oscar Piastri P3. Little bit of contention there because Lando Norris had a slow pit stop after Oscar Piastri pitted before him, and Piastri overcut him, and the team asked him to swap positions back, and Piastri did so. A lot of people in chat not agreeing with that decision. A lot of people will, I'm sure. It may depend on where you fall in terms of fandom in some cases, but a lot of neutrals not happy, I'm sure. Charles Leclerc P4 for Ferrari, with George Russell in P5 and Lewis Hamilton P6. Good recovery from P10. Did think he'd have a shot at George Russell, but didn't really work out in the end. But still, it's an improvement on yesterday. Alex Albon as well, by the way, P7, up 7 places from his starting position. So great result for Albon, who just keeps racking up the points again at the moment. Gabriel Bortoleto on that note, P8, only down 1 place, which is pretty impressive all things considered, and another very nice 4 points with Kimi Antonelli in 9th place following his penalty, 5-second time penalty, which has been served, I believe, after the race. Isack Hadjar, another one, great recovery, P19 to P10, sorry, cracking turnaround for him, and a point on the board after what had been a pretty miserable weekend up until that point, to be fair. Carlos Sainz in P11. Ollie Bearman in P12. Bearman did get a penalty for hitting Carlos Sainz, 10-second time penalty, so that's affected his position, I assume, in the end there. With Yuki Tsunoda 13th, Liam Lawson 14th, and Esteban Ocon, who also got a 5-second time penalty, which he served, in 15th place. Pierre Gasly 16th, Franco Colapinto 17th, and Lance Stroll ran all the way to like 50 on his hard tyres, and then pitted so late on that he's just fallen to plumb last in the end, so not good for him. And Fernando Alonso, he ran over the curb on the exit of Ascari, broke his right front suspension, and Nico Hulkenberg retired before the race even started with a hydraulic issue. That all means in the championship, the gap at the top has been cut from 34 points to 31. Piastri 324 to Norris's 293. Max Verstappen, 3rd place, cementing that a little bit now. I mean, that can be overturned, but looking good for P3 now, and that invitation to the FIA prize-giving gala at the end of the season, bet he can't bloody wait. 230 points for him. Russell, 4th place, 194. Leclerc in 5th on 163. Then it's Hamilton on 177. Alex Albon on 70 points at the moment. Now Williams in 7th place and 4 clear of Kimi Antonelli, who he moves ahead of in the Drivers' Championship. 66 points for Antonelli. Hadjar moves up a place onto 38 points into 9th. Hulkenberg drops to 10th on 37 points. 32 points for Lance Stroll and 30 for Fernando Alonso, 11th and 12th. Esteban Ocon, 28 points. Gasly, 20. Lawson, 20. Bortoleto, 18. Bearman, 16. Sainz, 16. Yuki Tsunoda, 12. Franco Colapinto, no points. And of course, Jack Doohan, no points as well, but he's not racing anymore in F1 for now. McLaren, getting close at the top, 617, place 280. Ferrari are still P2, but I think McLaren have it in the bag. I can't be sure. 260 now for Mercedes. They are 20 behind Ferrari. And that win for Verstappen today does give Red Bull a shot at a top 3, maybe even top 2. Let's see what happens between now and the rest of the season. 239, 86 points for Williams. Bloody hell. 62 for Aston Martin, 61 for Racing Bulls, 55 for Sauber, 44 for Haas, and 20 for Alpine, who are rapidly looking like they are going to be getting the wooden spoon this season. If you are disappearing, though, a lot of people tend to, after the race is finished, please do drop a like. We're 5 away from 100, which is kind of what I like to hit on these streams. So please do drop a like and subscribe if you're new as well. Lots to come this season. We've got Thomas will be with you tomorrow. I'll have a video out Thursday. There'll be some shorts along the way as well, and a video on Saturday too. And then we're getting ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix after that with streams all weekend. So likes and subs, greatly appreciated as always. And if you have any questions, I headbutt the mic for the 3rd time in a row, please do pop them in chat, and we will... we'll see if I can answer a few of your questions, and we'll see where we end up. We'll be live for a good half an hour, I would say. It's only 3:30. That race absolutely disappeared, didn't it? We'll also rate the race, and we will do driver of the day as well shortly. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's start with that. Let's start with rating the race out of 10. 1 being, oh, why did I waste my Sunday? And 10 being, oh my God, I didn't waste my Sunday. That'll do. That's your scale, 1 to 10. Terrible, great. Tell me in the chat what you go with. I would say first handful of laps, I think you're pushing an 8. I think there was a lot of excitement going on there, maybe higher. Middle part of the race, yeah, that was a drag trying to commentate on that. And towards the end with the sort of drama, if you like, between the two McLarens, maybe bumps up a bit. I can't go higher than a 6. I'd be tempted to say about 5. I don't like saying average because that wasn't the average F1 race. Others are better, but yeah. I'm sort of edging, but I'm sort of thinking between 5 and 6, so maybe 5.5 is the answer I'm looking for. But yeah, it might be one of those that I think about and maybe I go 6, but right now it's tough to go around there. But yeah, I had its moments, particularly early on, and some intrigue around strategy. The Liam Lawson stuff was at least fun whilst we tried to occupy our time. But you're welcome, Raymond. Thank you, mate. So thanks for the great commentary. Appreciate that. And we are on 104 likes, so we're already there. Thank you, everybody. We're flying through the likes. Appreciate that. Great stuff. You're all absolute legends. But yeah. I'll do your shout-outs, give you the numbers. So Nilo says 3.5 out of 10. Farting Golf Ball says 4. Paint 2D says 4. CPB says 6 or 7. Interesting. William says 5. Jim says 4. Fud says 5. I didn't waste my time, but I could have been sleeping. To be fair, Fud, that's kind of my life. That's how I am most days. I haven't wasted my time, but I could have been asleep. So Ken Charlotte says 5. Probably a 6 says CPB. 4 to 5 is fair says SB. I would say honestly about a 6 to 7 out of 10 says Raymond. Nick says 5. Lewis says 1. Sighted Canvas says 0.75 out of 10. Michael says 5. Alfie says, oh, it's Sunday. Wake up, Alfie. It's Sunday, mate. Monday tomorrow. 8 for the first laps, and then I drop it to a 3 after the swap, says Kevin. And apparently the McLaren boy's not even phased in the cool down room, says Kaori. This is, again, for the 5th time in the last 20 minutes. That's the problem with this championship battle. I don't want Piastri to walk in and punch Norris, but just be a little bit mardy about it, you know. I got excited after Silverstone because there was a little bit of bite starting to come through, and then there were busy mates afterwards. But maybe that's the way F1's going. Maybe I'm dreaming of days gone by that will never return because, you know, the world we're in now. Let's go quick back to the score show before we get all political. Stickerbrick said I'd say 3, but the controversy knocks it up to a 5. Paula says 7. Panko says 6.5. Gingerfest says 2. Mark says 6 overall. Even a good race is only about 6 overall, so this was a 4.5. If Norris and Piastri raced properly, could have been a 7 plus, says Raymond. And one, let's see what else we've got. Craig 2.5. Tommy Pi 3.14. Appreciate that. And I think we'll leave it at that one for the scores. We will do the driver of the day shortly. It was Max Verstappen winning the official one, but I'll take your comments on that and we'll keep it on the podium and then we'll wrap it up. If you are new, by the way, the end of these streams are very waffly and it's all very chat centric, and Sean will get sent off on some random tangent and we end up talking about Robot Wars or something and then wonder why everyone leaves and hates me. Anyway, I wonder what George Russell thinks of that swap, says Kevin, and felt like 2023 all over again, to be honest, as William. That was a very that's a great shout from Warren. William, sorry. It did feel very dominant, because they said the softs, didn't they, McLaren? Let's put the softs on. And Lando said, whatever the other car doesn't do. So referring to Max Verstappen, the car ahead. So the opposite. So you thought, oh, maybe McLaren think the soft to the end of the race is going to be quicker. So if Max goes for a harder tyre, then they're going to have the tyre delta and the pace late on to close the gap. But Max's pace after his pit stop was so strong that he came out, 16 odd seconds up the road. So it was just done. It was absolutely done. And I did say that at the time. I was like, if he's quick at this pace, it doesn't matter what tyre they put on. So maybe it was just one of those days where there was no catching the Red Bull and McLaren just had to try something to see if they could turn it around. But no, Max Verstappen disappeared. 19.2 at the end. And I mean, he wasn't even pushing. The last lap, 21.1 plays a 20.9. I say he wasn't even pushing. There's only 2 tenths in it, but you know what I mean. Not as hard as he... I feel like there's more pace in that car, I was saying today. So shaving off that rear wing between practice and quali made the difference today. But Max Verstappen, I don't know. Once he got past Norris, I didn't... And this could all be bias. If you are new, I am a Max Verstappen fan, so I appreciate the bias here, and I get that. But I didn't feel like once he'd broken DRS to Norris, he was ever going to be caught. And sometimes you do feel that in F1. Sometimes you sort of not know because you can't possibly know, but just a gut feeling says, I don't think this is going to get overturned. And that's basically what happened. I'm talking nonsense here. There's still 30 minutes on the timer for the race, and they're all collecting their trophies. Did we check, actually, on the timing, how long that race was? We should find out. The FIA put their thing out. I imagine I'd be surprised if the result is up on any site just yet. Let's just see. No, the result hasn't been published yet, so I don't know how long that race was, but it didn't feel long. That's for sure. An hour and 14 minutes was last year, and it felt quicker than that. So, yeah, no, I do. I like the trophy this weekend for Monza. It's a nice trophy. I do like the fireworks there as well, or the... No, it's not fireworks, is it? Is it paint or smoke or whatever it is? Paint powder. Oh, yeah, I know SB. Yeah, SB. Monza always feels like this. Like I said, last year's race was an hour and 15 minutes less than. So it could be that, the race at Monza can be the most entertaining race you've ever seen or the most boring race you'll ever see. And they'll both just absolutely disappear because it's just such a quick lap. I think Crofty said pre-race, Monza has 19 of the 20 fastest races in F1 history. So it's not a surprise. Apparently about an hour and 13. So we are slightly quicker than last year. So we'll see. It'll all get released shortly, and I'll be able to tell you hopefully while we're are they booing Lando? Why? Is that what people are talking about in chat about the Lando hate? Because if that was aimed at me, it's bullshit, and I will tell you it's bullshit. I have no issue with Lando Norris. I've met him several times. He's a really nice guy, a very lovely lad. So I don't have any issue with him whatsoever. But if that's what you meant by the Lando hate, I didn't know they were booing him, which just seems a little bit. But then I said, it's part of sport. I don't mind booing in sport if there's a reason for it, and I'm not, unless it was just that there were team orders at the end there. But and I say this as a Ferrari fan in my Ferrari shirt, Ferrari fans booing team orders is ever so slightly hypocritical. Just a tad. It's what we did for years with Michael Schumacher. Rubens Barrichello literally stopped on the line in Austria to let him through. Literally he's pushing it, but he definitely backed right off. So, yeah. McLaren hate maybe, and that comes with domination. But booing doesn't generally bother me. Unless there's as long as there's a reason for it. So Dutch fans booing Lewis Hamilton in 2021, I get it. British fans booing Max Verstappen in 2021, I get it. I just don't know what Lando, apart from the team orders, I don't really get what that could be. It must be the team orders because I can't. No, because Max Verstappen's not a Ferrari driver, so. I don't know. Weird. There might be a reason. I might have missed something this weekend. Lando Norris might have stood on that truck in the drive parade and gone, God, I hate Italy. I wouldn't know. So let me know if you do know for sure. It could just be the team orders thing. But again, I will make the point again. If you're a Ferrari fan, booing team orders, pick up a book, go and watch a review DVD, because, yeah, Fernando is faster than you. The Hatpro says, I never loved the tribalism, but I accept that it's part of sport. Yeah, it just doesn't. It's never bothered me. It's part of the theatre of it all. I can tell you this story will reveal way too much about my life, actually. Mate, a lot of people will hate me for what I'm about to say. I've been to sporting events and I've booed. I've been to Silverstone and I've booed. I've also been to a Big Brother eviction live at Elstree and booed. It's sort of, I just feel like sometimes it's just nice to boo, you know? Boo for no reason. Anyway, yeah. CP says it's toxic, but sarcastically, yeah. I think there's a difference between booing a driver and then stalking them and going on social media and, you know, verbally abusing them and throwing stuff at them or whatever, you know. There are far worse things than boo. Did you boo Spidey? No. What? We went in 2012. It was on Channel 5 then. We booed... was her name Ashley? There's people going, you can't be a Big Brother fan, Sean. Come on. You can't. No. Not in 2025. It's against the law. Yeah. I think it was Ashley her name was. Because she was... yeah, anyway. Exactly. Lies and moderation to everything. That's it, Kaori. I mean, I've got no problem. I've said it, I've no problem with people getting, you know, annoyed with me in chat, so long as it's not followed with... you know, unnecessary. I hate the word attacks because it's a bit over the top. But you know what I mean? It doesn't need to be followed by, you know, abusive words. But I'm also... it also takes a lot to offend me. I get more annoyed by people putting words in my mouth than calling me a twat, quite frankly. Big Brother is not dead now. How dare you, CPB? How dare you? It's hugely popular. A whole 6 people still watch it. What happened with Stroll's 15-second pit stop, says Jay Webb. Did he have a 15-second pit stop? Now, somebody said to me the other day, sorry, if I go to the tyres thing and click on there... No. Oh. Sorry, somebody said to me if I went to the tyres screen on the... multiview and I clicked on their tyres, it would tell me how long their pit stop was, but it doesn't appear to be doing it for me, so that might be something in an update that I've not installed this week. I don't know, but I didn't know he had a long stop. That would explain a lot, because he was up in the points, wasn't he, because he ran all the way on lap 50 on those hard tyres, and that was followed by a slow stop. So if I missed that one, I honestly don't know. I can rewind. I've got the old Sky Plus. Plus. Let's just see if... I don't know if they I'd be surprised they broadcast Stroll's strategy. That was a mouthful. But I'll go back a bit and see. I don't really want to watch the end of that race again. Well, it was nice for my driver to win, so I'm quite happy at that. I forget how long the post-race stuff goes on for these days. It certainly didn't feel like that when I was watching as a kid. It certainly felt like it was over much quicker than that. Just get on the podium, spray the champagne, leave. But now, well, you've got the post-race, you've got the immediate interviews, haven't you? Then you've got the cool-down room. Then you've got... God, they really will broadcast anything, won't they? Anyway, the cool-down room and then all of that business. So I'm just going to go back a bit and see what happened with Lance Stroll. Where is he? Lance Stroll. So, yeah, penalties did go on that tower at the end there, so that's all right. I can't think what... Yeah, because he went to lap 50, didn't he, Lance Stroll, I just said. So let's rewind a tad. So I've got the race back on. I'm back on lap 50. Boo earns. Yes, exactly. No, sir, they're saying boo earns. So we're waiting for Lance Stroll to pit here, aren't we? So in he comes on lap 50. They're not broadcasting the stop itself. They have got the time on screen. So he was P10 at that point. P11, P12. Yeah, it is a long stop, isn't it? Gasly pitted as well at the same time. I assume got ahead of his. Yeah, they're not showing the actual stop itself, so I can't answer that, unfortunately. But I have gone back and checked. I mean, Gasly's stop was 2.9 and Stroll... I know. Yeah, weird. No answer for you, I'm afraid. Yeah, nothing on the... sorry about that. Nothing I brought. I thought I'd have a look, but yeah. If anyone knows, let me know. But yeah. Even Ocon with 5 second penalty finish 2 places above him. It was a terrible pit stop. Yeah, Ocon penalty ahead of Stroll. Actually, Ocon 15th is where he started. It's not a bad result because he got a penalty, is it, actually, for Esteban? But yeah, no, they're just watching some of the highlights from earlier in the race and Verstappen overtaking Norris. That was a lovely move at turn 1. But overtake of the day for me is still Oscar Piastri on Charles Leclerc at that first Lesmo around the outside. No one does that. That was a great move. Until they address the first corner BS that Max gets away with, it's hard to watch F1, says Andrew. I mean, to be fair, they did address it. They gave him they told him to give the position back. If Red Bull had not given that position back, he would have likely got a penalty. So I feel like that has been... I feel like it's been addressed in that you will be given an opportunity to return the position, but if you don't, then you'll get a penalty. But Andrew says that's not good enough, which is, I'm not going to get you, Andrew. Completely your opinion, mate. I'm just telling you what's happened. Well, you know what happened there. You're not stupid, but I think so long as it's dealt with in some way, that's fine. But I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is Piastri on the radio. He definitely didn't agree with it, did he, at the time? But yeah, I'm not going to go. I'd never go at anybody for a different opinion. That's not who I am at all. But yeah, I just as long as it's dealt with in some way, I'm fine with it. But there can be. I sort of what I would say is I think there has to be a limit, doesn't there? There has to be a line. Up to a point, give that position back or you'll get a penalty is fine. But there has to be a line somewhere in the regulations that if you go over that, then it's just a penalty, whatever. So I don't know where that line is, unfortunately. Yeah. See you next time, Sean in chat. No worries, Tommy. Thanks for popping along, mate. Catch you next time. I'd probably boo the FI if I attended an F1 race or a celebrity looking down at Martin Brundle, says CPB. It's always fun to boo. Sighted Canvas off as well. Thank you, Sighted Canvas, mate. Have a good one. Hopefully catch you at the next Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. Baku, of course. Williams says, are you Rob Marshall? No relation. I've been someone said that to me before as well. No relation. Unfortunately, if I was a relation, I'd be at the race because I'd get free tickets and stuff, wouldn't I? Free access to the garage, which would be quite cool. But no, I'm not, unfortunately. I suppose, as evidenced by your question, really, Sean, are you Rob Marshall? No. You answered your own question. Do you remember Singapore 2019 and Vettel overcut Leclerc and refused to give the place back? Did he refuse to give the place back, John, or did Ferrari not swap them back, or did not give the instruction? I may be misremembering. I think they decided to leave that as it was because they wanted Vettel, or not wanted, but it was Vettel's chance for his last win, wasn't it? Or as it turned out, his chance for his last win. They didn't know at that point it would have been his last win. I don't know. That was only 6 years ago, and I can't bloody remember, John. I don't know if that was a Vettel decision or a Ferrari decision. I can't seem to recall off the top of my head whether or not they actually made the call. I'll look into that one. I'm intrigued. I think he said he could because the cars were so close. Maybe, yeah. Well, yeah. I don't remember it. I remember the thing you're talking about. I can't remember exactly how it played out, but yeah, like I say, I'd be very surprised if other drivers did that. No worries, surprises now. See you at the next race. Have a good one. Thank you for coming. It's been good to chat to you all, as always. Do you think McLaren domination will continue to 26 as the engine regs state that they have to have the same engines as Mercedes and all the new engine maps and their aero team being god tier? It's difficult to say, to be honest, William, on 26. I can't, because it is a massive rules reset. The last massive rules reset we had, Mercedes smashed it. We know that. But that was a whole new everything. That was a whole new power unit. Whereas next year, yes, the engines are different, but they are still hybrids, and we've built these before. So nobody's starting from absolute scratch. So Mercedes may well have the best engine next year, but I don't imagine that's going to be the same as in 2014 when it had the best power unit. I do think that having, and I've said this before, so sorry for repeating it to anybody else who's heard this, but I do think being a works team or a manufacturer team will help you initially next year, because your entire car and power unit are pretty much designed together, so they're really nicely integrated, whereas McLaren have got to Again, not to the extent that Brawn had to in 2009 with the Mercedes engine, but they've got to a point, shoehorn that Mercedes in. Of course, they'll have had the dimensions and all of that, but it's still not a fully integrated thing. So I think manufacturer teams will have an advantage, and, you know, Aston Martin with the Honda engine should have an advantage over any customer teams. I don't think Honda have got customer teams that year, have they? But I think we're in a position where if you've got a good aero team, like McLaren do, it could be enough to make up the difference in power, or not power, but the difference in performance between having a great engine and not, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is that the advantage of any great engine is not going to be as great as it was in 2014, so the aero could make up for that. So it might actually be that McLaren are in the fight, but I think this is what makes one thing that does make this year really interesting in the championship fight is that, and I think Martin Brundle's made the point before, and I think even Nico Rosberg's made it, probably loads of pundits have made it, and everybody else, you've probably all made it as well, but this could be, because we don't know what's going to happen next year, this could be Lando Norris's and Oscar Piastri's only shot at a world championship. It might not be. They may have a chance next year. They might end up at a team in the future that does challenge, but as of right now, if they stayed at McLaren and McLaren don't get the new regs right, this could be their last shot. So that kind of adds a little bit of spice to it, I suppose. And that's a great point as well from William. Obviously back in 2014, Mercedes were working on their engines from sort of 2009-10, that kind of time, weren't they? Really working on it very early, whereas these power units have been... The rules have been in place for a while, but they weren't allowed to start on... Well, that's the aero, isn't it? The aero they weren't allowed to start until this year, but I think the power units have been worked on for a couple of years now, but maybe not as long as Mercedes. So Mercedes in 2014. Let's see. I'm not thrilled by the regulations next year. I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised, and I'm wrong, but yeah. I'm not expecting a big shuffle in the order like we had in 2009 time, or even 2014 with the Mercedes power unit. I don't expect that. I think your top teams will still be your top teams. I hope I'm wrong. Would love to see Williams dominate. It's never going to happen. Advantage depends on what Honda brings to the table, though. By the same logic, Leclerc might never win the championship. Have a chance at the championship. My sadness deeper, says a Yuki. Yeah, don't. So the thing that many don't understand is that the aero for 22 red cars is heavily dependent on very good suspension control because of the ground effects. This will become a bit less powerful in 2026, says Nilesh. And by Kaori, you've probably already gone, but yeah, have a good one, Kaori. Hopefully catch you for the race in Baku or even qualifying. We'll have a catch up then. You have to wonder what would have happened if McLaren pit for hards first and gone for the undercut, says Fudd. Yeah. I feel like Verstappen just had it all covered today, though. Because I think Verstappen was, 5-ish seconds clear of Norris. So even if Norris had pitted for the hards before Verstappen could just have reacted a lap later. I just feel like Verstappen had it all covered today. But it's an interesting theory. I mean, who knows? Crazy Ninja says Zach Clown. Zach Clown, is that a new one? I feel like you didn't come up with that one, but yeah. There you go. Tom already says bye to Tommy. Yeah, clean air is king, says a Hatprus. Exactly, yeah. And how much pace did Verstappen still have to put down if he needed to? McLaren were hoping for a safety car, otherwise he had no chance, as Nilesh. That's a fair point, yeah, because the soft tyre made no difference in the end, did it? I mean, it was never going to be a great race tyre, but I thought they'd maybe close it down a bit. How bad do you think Red Bull Powertrain's engine will be, says Nilesh? I mean, the noise is that they are hitting all targets, so that sounds great as a press line. You know, we are hitting all targets, but we don't know where those targets are. Those targets could be a second lap slower than Mercedes targets. It's kind of impossible to know because teams aren't going to tell you they're struggling. And if they do, can you believe that? So we'll wait and see what happens. We're not that far away. I mean, look, I was talking to Mark, my editor, my boss, on Monday, and we're already looking at January, if you can believe it or not. We're already looking at what we're going to do there with content and things like that, and it sort of dawned on both of us while we were chatting about it that actually there's a very short off season next year, because you've got the season finishes on December 7th, I believe, for Abu Dhabi. Then you've got Christmas and New Year. But although it's not televised, there will be something that comes out around testing, which is at the start of January. So we've got the first test, which is... let me find... I've got the dates here somewhere. There we go. So we've got the first test, which is going to be untelevised, 3 days per team, between the 26th and the 30th of January. Then we're testing again 2 weeks later, and then we're testing again a week later. So when you factor in car launches in there, yes, all right, the off-season testing is still in the off-season because it's pre-season, but from my point of view, from a content point of view, and then journalists and all of that, and fans who enjoy testing and launches, really, it's only about, 7 weeks of off-season next over the winter. So, yeah, it's not long till we start to find out what's happening. Again, it's the first test isn't televised, but things will come out around it. There will be things. And that goes back to what we're saying pre-race about the oversaturation of the sport. Practice is boring, but practice is boring because practice is supposed to be boring, because it is, brace yourself, practice. It's a time for drivers and teams to practice for the weekend, so I don't think that needs to be broadcast. Testing, I enjoy the testing streams, but as an event, if you want to call it that, it's boring because it's testing. It's for teams to test. So you broadcast all that, then you broadcast all your practice, then you got qualifying in the race. It's a lot. And again, back to that point I was making, pre-race. 24 races in a year, 24 race weekends is getting on for half a year's worth of weekends that F1 fans are expected to give up. That's why people are watching highlights, because, and it's a scary thought, people out there have lives and they can't afford to pay for F1, and they also can't afford to give up nearly half the weekends in their years. So whilst the argument is more racing is always good, I don't necessarily agree. I'll watch as many races they put out. I'm sad like that, but a 20 race season feels like it needs to be the max, and then let's cut back on broadcasting every single bloody thing. Yeah, anyway. I also get really... It's why I don't watch a lot of practice build-up and that now, because Sky say the same things pre-FP1 as they say pre-FP2, as they say pre-FP3, pre-qualifying, pre-race. It's... yeah. I know I can repeat myself. I'm aware of that, but God. Yeah, anyway. I don't mind the first test being untelevised as long as they release the data. They might put the times out, but I don't think we'll get much info on that. There will be leaks and things like that we get. I don't know if it's a complete media blackout. They may allow the teams to show some of their pictures from the garage, which might get some shots of cars. But I would imagine the first test will be pre-car launch. So a lot of teams might just turn up to the first test with not a mule car, but a first draft, if you like, of their 2026 car. And it'll basically tell us nothing, because everyone will turn up with a different car at the second test. And then by the time we get to that first race, as always in testing, they'll have changed so much. It was all irrelevant anyway, but yeah. I wouldn't even televise, just stream it on YouTube, says Jamie, talking about testing. How to fix F1, says William. Bring back Interlagos season finale. Bring back V8s or V10s. Cut season length 1921 races. Reduce dirty air and make cars smaller. Reduce dirty air, make cars smaller, make them more nimble and raceable. Get rid of some of these street tracks that were out that just don't promote any kind of racing. I absolutely would have a V8 back in that car over the V6. You can still hybrid a V8, so why not? And Interlagos' season finale is absolutely... I think most people in chat will agree with that, actually, because Abu Dhabi's not exactly brilliant, is it? It's a bit soulless as well, whereas Interlagos, as a season finale, it is a lottery pretty much every year. Ask Sebastian Vettel, 2012. Interlagos is great as a season finale. Absolutely. Do you think there is any possibility that Toto Wolff could replace Antonelli with Frederick Vesti if Antonelli continues to be inconsistent? And could Vesti be more consistent, says CPB? I don't think there is any intention at all to get rid of Kimi Antonelli at Mercedes. And I certainly don't think if they did get rid of him, they'd put Vesti in that car. No way. If they decided to cut him now, even though he's off to Cadillac, they'd probably put Bottas in there because of the experience, even though that would probably give Cadillac a real boost next year. But Bottas got all the information anyway, so it doesn't matter, does it? But no, Toto Wolff has said he's sticking with this lineup. He's also said things like these are the mistakes we want Antonelli to make. We expect Antonelli to make because he's so young. That's not the kind of line you're going to get from a team principal if the plan is to drop them. So I don't think there's any chance at all. If he crashes out in Baku, Singapore, and then the 3 races after that, they might think, maybe, hang on a minute, do we need to make a change? But I don't think that's the intention. Things could change, of course, but I don't think Vesti's the answer either. I mean, he'd be even worse in that car because he's not had any testing in it, no sessions in it. At least Antonelli's had a full pre-season test and, 15 races? 16 races now? So, yeah, no, I don't think so. But I will say CPB, and you might know what's coming. Stranger things have happened. Who knows? Hot takes. V8s will suck, especially with turbos, because they could sound like 2 4-cylinder taped together in a world infested with too many 4-cylinders. I think the plan is, though, Nilesh, I think they're thinking a normally aspirated V8, no turbo, hybrid on sustainable fuels. So I think that was the conversation they were thinking about. So I get your point, but I don't think that's the route. I think it wouldn't be the same as a completely pure V8 maybe, but I think it would still be much better than the horrific idea of the noise you've just suggested there. 2 4-cylinders taped together would be awful. But yeah, there was a video, I think, shared by somebody comparing V12s, V10s and V8s. It was like, which one sounds better? V10 all day long. The downshifts in a V10, don't. Oh my god. It's incredible. This way, Mercedes are lucky they don't have a championship challenging car this year. Hamilton's move forced them to bring him in early, and it shows. They'd have ideally put him elsewhere first. This way, he's learning isn't risking a championship. That's a good point as well, Fudd. Maybe Toto would view this differently if it was a championship winning car or a championship challenging car, but it's all ifs and buts, and I know that, and we don't know for sure, but if Mercedes are the team to beat next year, Antonelli's getting all this out of his system now, and he's learning the tracks, he's learning Formula One, he's pushing the limits now and making these mistakes, which might set him up quite nicely for next year, but it's tough. It's tough. V8s, V10s and V12s normally aspirated, music to my ears. Yeah, any of those are fine, but I think the V10s were my favourites, just for the noise was the sweet spot. There's people now who are like, the noise doesn't matter. It does matter. No one is ever going to convince me the noise doesn't matter. It's not the most important part, I'll give you that, but the noise absolutely matters. I will say again, I've made this point before. If you've never been to an F1 race, I can tell you now, these V6 turbo hybrids, they're not the roar of a V10, but they ain't quiet. They're not quiet. They're loud. It's just the roar, and the downshifts in a V10 just sound... Anyway, glory days are back. Here he goes. Grandad's at it again. Yeah. Oh no, I don't think the V10s will ever come back, to be honest with you, and it's a shame. But again, another one for if the race is great, it'd be something less to care about, wouldn't it? But yeah, anyway, go to a sport event with no passionate fans and see how much you enjoy it, says Jamie. Yeah, exactly. Any questions about the race, and then we'll do driver of the day and then we'll wrap it up. But yeah, we've got Baku coming up in a couple of weeks time. That's followed by Singapore. I have got the calendar somewhere so I can let you know what we've got coming up. If you probably already know, you're not daft. Yeah, so it's Azerbaijan a couple of weeks time, then it's Singapore a couple of weeks after that, then it is USA a couple of weeks after that. Are they... One sec. By the way, again, breaking news. Sean shocked again by the concept of time passing. I can't believe we're already a full week into September. Anyway, 9th. So it's a double header, USA and Mexico. Then it is actually 2 weeks to Brazil, which always baffles me. It always baffles me. Because here's what I'd do. I'd shuffle the calendar a bit. Why don't we have Brazil and Vegas back to back, and then a gap, and then Qatar and Abu Dhabi back to back? Why are we going Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi? It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So yeah, Azerbaijan, then Singapore a couple of weeks later. A couple of weeks after that, it's the USA at COTA, with Mexico the following week. Then a couple of weeks to Brazil. Then a couple of weeks to a triple header, season ender, if you like. Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Yeah, hopefully a title decide for Abu Dhabi, because, yeah. I'd go old school and have Brazil as the opener, says CPB. I remember Brazil used to be about the second race of the season as well. Australia, Brazil. They were great. Formula E engine, X-Wing, V6, Henry Hoover, says CVV. Yeah. Ugh. I don't watch Formula E, I don't know. How many races do you think Red Bull have this type of opportunity to win? Or Mercedes, maybe Ferrari, says Jamie. Brazil's a lottery. Anyone can win that. I don't mean anybody. I mean, Kevin Magnussen got pole a few years ago because that rained, didn't he? So you can get a bit of it. Oh, that was the sprint pole, wasn't it? So you can get a surprise in there. So yeah, Brazil is a lottery. Mexico, things tend to even out, don't they, a little bit, because of the altitude there does have an impact. So that might be a shot for some teams, but Singapore as well can. I mean, Azerbaijan could be chaos. The first ever video on his channel is a review of that chaotic race in 2017. So, you know, I think there are opportunities there, but in straight, you know, no issues at all, straightforward races, that's what I'm trying to say. Probably Mexico, Brazil is where I'd maybe say something might happen to allow somebody in. But I think McLaren most weekends should turn up with the car to beat. Yeah, Vegas, the temps could be a thing as well, says Jamie. That could bring Mercedes into play, of course. The much cooler temps, but it's not long either to find out, by the way. This season has flown by. J Webb says Aston Martin strategy disaster today. All they had to do was pit Stroll to cover Hadjar and they would have got 10th. Do we know yet what the issue was for Lance Stroll? I could just go check the old Twitex sphere and see if they've said anything, but that might be a press release thing, which usually comes in a little bit later in the evening. It's not something that happens now. Not that anyone cares, but I'm getting that pressure in my head feeling. I think I'm coming down with something, which is going to be great timing right before I have to get a load of recording done this week, but we'll be fine. I'll live. Our Italian Grand Prix weekend comes to a close. No word from Stroll there. I could do a search for Stroll, but it's just going to be people going, "Oh, that Stroll sucks," because that's all they do on internet when it comes to Lance Stroll. But sometimes there's some info out there. Otherwise, I don't know. Lack of talent, says Growbag. The timing on that. Qatar's a fair shout, actually, John. He surprised a few last year with his win there, didn't he, Max Verstappen? Even though he was going for a world championship, people didn't think that the Red Bull would have the pace in Qatar to battle McLaren, and he won it, didn't he? So, but I can't see any specific. Now, it was 6 days ago. So, yeah, nothing specific on Lance Stroll. So, maybe just a wheel gun or slow somewhere. Unfortunately, I've grown up in a world where Abu Dhabi has never not been the finale, even for years before I started watching, says Neelesh. Yeah, 2009. Was that the season finale in 2009? The first one? I think it dropped back to slightly earlier the following year. But, yeah, no. I think Brazil's the perfect season finale because it's just, look at that. Because it's such a lottery. Just got the sound bites through from Aston Martin. Lance Stroll says, it was always going to be a tough race for us today here at Monza, and we managed to make up a few positions with our tyre strategy and staying out long on that first stint. Unfortunately, we had some reliability issues during the pit stop at the end of the race and ended up in P18. We were hoping for a safety car, which could have helped us at the right time to finish just about in the points, but there weren't any opportunities. So they're saying a reliability issue in the pit stop. And Mike Crack says Home for a safety car. We had another reliability issue with his pit stop, which drops him down in the order. So they're calling it a reliability issue in a pit stop. Don't know what that could be. So it could be a wheel gun, maybe even stalling or something like that. But yeah, that's the official line from Aston Martin. I will just check and see if there's anything in the group chat, and then we're going to wrap up with a driver of the day. In fact, do you want to start popping your driver of the day in chat, and I'll do some surnames, give you some shout outs before we wrap up today. So yeah, driver of the day was officially Max Verstappen. Let me know who got it for you. I can't see anything there of any interest. No. So yeah, Max Verstappen, driver of the day. Sort of difficult to look past him, isn't it? It was a great drive from Max there, really, really comfortable. So with potentially all the bias in the world, I am going to go Max Verstappen for driver of the day, but I am going to give shout outs to Alex Albon for a great recovery to P7 and Isack Hadjar up to P10. I think Bortoletto gets a nod as well, and you could argue Lewis Hamilton going from 10th to 6th. So yeah, they're but Verstappen for me. You've got to remember as well, and Jamie's just said it in chat, 19 seconds over the rocket ships is crazy. That McLaren is the best car out there pretty comfortably. Yes, this weekend it was going to be affected because it was a bit more draggy. That brings Verstappen into play, but and other teams into play. But I still thought McLaren would have this today. But once he got past Norris, broke the DRS, he just never looked like he was going to let it go. So that's a big gap. A big gap. And it's not like McLaren made an extra stop or anything like that, or there was any kind of real drama, no reliability problems, no real mistakes. Norris kicked up some dust on the exit of the second Lesmo at one stage. That's about as dramatic as it got, really, in terms of those sorts of things. So yeah, that's a big gap. So yeah, let's see what you guys are saying then. So Michael, I think yours is the first one. Just checking. Yes, it is. Michael's gone with Alex Albon for driver of the day. Jamie says it's got to be Max. Paint 2D says Max for sure. Verstappen or Hadjar, says John. Hadjar pits to points, says Growbag. Jamie says 90 seconds over the rocket ship. I read that one. Is crazy. M. Harati says Bortoletto. John says Nico, he had an amazing race. Yeah, Hulkenberg all the way. Great drive. Albon for making the strategy work is what Neelish says as well there in the chat. And Jamie says, I think a lot of us, when he sought the position back to Lando, he was going to be a nail biter, but to pass him and create the monster gap is impressive. Max, that is, says Jamie. So there we go. Thank you for your drive of the day there. A little mix there, actually, I think, to be fair. So, yeah, but we are going to wrap it up there because it's... I'm waffling now, and I know some of you love that and some of you really hate it, so we'll call it a day there. It just feels a little bit early because the race was quicker. It feels like I should be doing another 20 minutes yet, but I've not really got a lot else to say without going on a massive 4-hour rant over nothing. So my man Liam Lawson doing some world-class bumper car racing for the second straight week, says CPV. There you go. But yeah, that is it for this one. Then I'm going to disappear. Jamie says wait. Hang on. Wait. Everyone wait. Nobody move. Everyone stay where you are. Jamie's going to say something. And this better be good, Jamie. It better be. Jamie will take an hour to type it now. We forgot to do... Oh, there you go. We forgot to do Driver of the Day. Stoffel shout out. There you go. I was sat here going, oh, Jamie's got breaking news. Stoffel Van Dorn. Of course, he's driver of the day. But yes, I am now. I'm not even going to look at you now, chat. It's all your fault, Jamie. I am going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your company this weekend. We had a great stream yesterday. Really great stream today. Sorry that my little rant pre-race ran into very nearly the race start. I was well and truly on one there. But yeah, appreciate the company this weekend. Bit of a break now for the next stream. It'll be the Baku weekend for qualifying and the race. But of course, Thomas will be with you tomorrow with a wrap-up from the weekend in Monza, from the Monza paddock as well. So please do drop a like if you enjoyed the stream and subscribe as well so you don't miss any future content. Like I say, Thomas tomorrow, a couple of shorts will be out before then, one from me and one from Sam. Then of course we've got video Thursday, video Saturday, and then we're building up for the race weekend in Azerbaijan. So likes and subs, as always, greatly appreciated. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.